Okay. You want to tell us how you feel, or do you want to get it on?
I need to restart resonance. This might actually be a tough show, John. Might actually be the worst show of our lives. I might call this show dog shit. What were you saying, though, earlier?
Why don't we get it on?
Get it on.
It must be quite apparent by this time to any thinking individual that the people of our country and people of other countries all over the world are coming to face a moment of grave decision. A time when we will choose the course of our future.
Oklahoma, Texas, New York, Philadelphia, around the world, it's gonna be a big nut bust.
The Millennial Media Offensive podcast is now live.
That's right. Today is September 23rd, 2025. You're listening to MMO number 187, and from the great city and state of St. Louis, Missouri. I'm Dan Gehring.
And from America's South Coast, where everyone is wondering, have we been left behind? I'm John G. Dew.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fall started yesterday. The Rapture Day was today.
Yeah,
And,
well, there's still time, I guess, unless you're in some other parts of the world. But
Well, I text my
that's something I always wonder.
I text my mother-in-law this morning, and when she responded, I was like, "Oh, thank God, we're all safe."
Well, is she your Rapture barometer, if you will?
That's right.
Like
I know. If
she's the one person
yeah,
you know she's getting taken.
That's right. If she's still here, we're all still here. That's
Okay.
what I know for life.
It's good to have someone that you know would be called up if that happened.
Yeah,
Just to check in.
that's I like that. The Rapture Barometer. Perfect show title right off the bat.
Yep, right off the bat. I've actually got some clips on this Rapture deal. We could knock these out early and start the show with that kind of content, or we could save them for a late show. It doesn't matter to me. I just had to come up with something for an intro and threw that one out there.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it. As long as we got them on the table.
Now, I don't know. Sometimes you see something on TikTok and you see a bunch of videos and something's getting a lot of traction. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a major happening or a very popular thing. It just means that perhaps it's popular on TikTok. But there were a lot of Rapture videos. And I've got some for our enjoyment. The first one is definitely the most sober one, and this is a young fellow discussing the actual dates that he knows that the Bible has prophesied. Now, I took a look, and I didn't, I control F'd my local Bible, and I could not find these dates.
Controlled F'd my Bible. That sounds wrong, but I'll play the clip.
And the news and your government is trying to say that the aliens invaded us and we need to all come together for world peace. I want you to know that it's all a lie. This video was posted before September 23rd, 2025. The faithful believers, we already knew and prepared for this. We tried to warn everyone about the rapture. That's exactly what happened. Look up what the rapture is online. It's when Jesus comes and takes his faithful bride.
Don't read your Bible.
His faithful remnant off the earth. And all the little children under the age of accountability. I know this might be a very
what is the
sad
age of accountability
time period right now for anyone who's left behind looking
Depends
for
on what
answers.
state you're in.
And it's only going to get worse and a lot darker. It's about to get a lot worse. But there's still hope, I'm telling you. This is your one last chance to turn away from all other beliefs and surrender your full heart to Jesus Christ. At some point, at this tribulation period, the 7-year tribulation that you're in, it's supposed to last 7 years, okay? Jesus warned us that he would come back to collect his church September 23rd, 2025. The 23rd or the 24th. Between that 2-day period, no man knows the day or the hour.
Oh,
it was
great.
a Hebrew idiom.
No man knows the day or the hour, but they do have a range of 2 days.
I thought that was so
But he also
good.
mentioned that he would come, his second coming to the earth as king. would be September 15th, 2032. Until then, anyone left behind, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're gonna go through hell.
Well, he knows.
Yes. I thought I'd actually see those dates in red lettering, but alas, there seems to have been some extrapolation from what's written in the Bible there.
Is it the Seventh-day Adventists that always come up with these dates? It's one of the sects of the religion. They are always the ones that are guessing new dates with it.
Well, as good as I could tell, this actually stems from a South African preacher who was no less on a podcast, and it was like, I don't know, if I had to name this podcast, I have no idea what it was named. I just saw the clip from it, and he's extremely dry and it was unclippable. But I guess I would name it, the pastor and the nuns. He's like, it's this one pastor, and he's being interviewed by what looks like these two twin women who are they give a very nunnish appearance, and their response to everything he says is just, oh, really? Oh. So that's where as best I can tell, that's where this comes from. He says, and I almost wonder if this wasn't just him being under the influence of being near to relatively attractive women and having them hanging on everything he says, because he gradually goes into this where, he's saying we're at the time of rapture is at hand, and then it goes to it's at hand and it won't be too much longer, and then it progresses into and it could be within the next few months, and then it progresses to it's September 23rd. That's when it's going to happen. And of course, every time he says that, they're like, "Oh my goodness! Ooh!" And this is the origin of this, as far as I can tell. Now, I'm really curious how this got as popular as it did.
That's what I was thinking.
Because there are so many, and this is, you could put this in a movie. You could make Idiocracy Revisited and have some of this content in the movie, and I'd probably slap my knees in the theater laughing at this, knowing that it's possible this could actually happen. And lo and behold, these next clips are the reality that you live in out there, you listening to this show. You share reality with some of these people. Rapture trip tips.
What to bring along when you're getting pulled into the sky. Perfect.
Rapture trip tips. I recommend you go out and buy a couple fresh packs of undies to wear for the next month. Throw all the old underwear away. Imagine after you've been harpazoed, your clothes float back down. You don't want someone's last impression of you to be your old underwear. Paul should have said, may your whole body, soul, and spirit and underwear be without blemish until the coming of the Lord. Rapture trip tip number 2. It's a tough spot to be in. You don't want to tell people you're going because maybe they'll think you're crazy. And what if you're still here after September? You got to save face. You still want people to know what happened to you. Leave a note on your mirror with a dry erase marker. When someone finally breaks into your house to see if you're okay, someone will find the note. I'm okay, I'm with Jesus. Don't take the mark of the beast. Rapture trip tip.
I would love my wife to walk in on me writing the note, I'm okay, I'm with Jesus. What were
Dan,
you about
give me
to
your
do?
weapons now.
That's right. That's right. You need to talk to somebody. And I don't mean John G. Do.
Number 3, other possible options to leave messages behind. Save a note as a screensaver on your phone. Carry a folded piece of paper, a note in your pocket. Pre-write letters and keep them in your purse or backpack. People are going to check the 3 Ps immediately after you're gone. They're going to go through your pockets, your purse, and your phone.
Oh, thank God.
Immediately. While they're taking your money, you might as well leave them a useful note, like a gospel message, or don't take the mark of the beast. Another way to help prepare people that you might go missing because you're harpazoed without looking crazy is to leave subtle hints during conversation. How about brunch this Sunday? That sounds great. I'll be there. Well, unless Jesus calls me up and I get raptured.
So subtle. What is this? What is this harpazoed?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sure it is some biblical, what the Bible says about harpazo, understanding its meaning. Greek term to seize, to snatch away, often used in the context of the rapture. Okay. Harpazo.
Okay, well, I haven't been harpazoed yet.
Yeah, that lady harpazoed my hope for humanity.
Go ahead and put a marker down right there. And, well, you know, that was more geared toward your personal effects and the people you might leave behind. But everyone wants to know. Everyone's asking. Everyone who's worried about being harpazoed is asking, well, how should I leave my house?
You get pulled through your roof and ceiling if you're inside of it.
No, I mean, how should I leave? In what condition should I leave it?
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
There's a clip.
I know.
So yesterday I posted a video asking, what are we doing to prepare our homes as Christians
I don't know
for the people who are left behind. And so just today I kind of made a little list of like what I could think of. If anybody else has anything that they're specifically doing in their house, please let me know. Obviously, clean my house and this and that, but my house is never truly clean because I have a toddler. But this is the things that I've kind of come up with.
Take care of the toddler.
So, like, here's my little list.
No time. Rapture's coming.
And then I went ahead and did these, and I laminated them. And then I did, like, scriptures that, like, I don't know, kind of elaborate a little bit about what Christianity is and how important it is. And then I did a letter to people, and I'm going to leave it. I don't know what I'm going to do with most of this stuff. But I mean, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my very best. I've never been through this. I just want people to have as much preparation as they can. I'm going to go to the store today and stock up on Bibles and some other things like candles, because I think that there's not going to be any power. I don't know. If there is, cool. If there's not, at least we've got that covered. So anyways, let me know in the comments if you're doing something and add it to my list.
So is she gathering the Bibles and candles for other people?
Yes.
So like the people that eventually break into her house?
The cards that she made and laminated had Bible verses on them, references for those left behind. And she made these cards, had them laminated, and in another video, and I watched so many of these, in another video, she has the Bibles, she laminates or somehow attaches the cards to the front of the Bibles and has a stack of like 12 Bibles in her home that she has attached these Bible verse cards to. And to the side, you obviously have the C4 energy drink that she has been using to fuel all of this pre-rapture busy work. I don't know if you heard it, but her child also in the background says what I thought was, "Mommy," and then realized that she was making a video and didn't say anything else. So, yeah, I thought that was a pretty good example, even though it was more visual than audio focused. Last one here, and then we'll move on to something else, unless we're harpazoed. This is someone discussing the idea, which, again, somewhere in the Bible, I guess, of assigned angels at the rapture.
Did you know there's like Christian horoscopes where you have a guardian angel based on your birthday?
Yeah, it's not Catholicism.
No, it's not Catholicism. It's funny joke, but it's there's like online people know like their angel's name and whatnot. It's weird. I've looked up mine. Already forgot what my angel's name is apparently because it is an internet website that means nothing. But assigned.
Yeah, did you have to shut down your credit card the next day?
I did not have to shut down my credit card, but my computer is malfunctioning, so that could be part of it. They could have harpazoed my RAM and memory for slave attacks or denial of service DDoS attacks. I'm not sure. Assigned angels. Here we go.
6 days, almost 5 days to Rapture time. I'm so excited. Who else is excited? There's a guy, his account here, I don't know what his real name is, but he's a riot and he's making this whole journey so fun, but his account is called Rapture Now. And he was just talking about, hey, have you heard that, there's an angel assigned to each person when we get raptured? He was like, I wonder if our pets get raptured too. He's like, dude, I want to be that.
Could you imagine?
Oh yeah, he goes, could you imagine the angel that's just assigned to one little chihuahua? They're going up 1,000 miles per hour. That is so funny. In all seriousness, today was my birthday, and I was secretly hoping it would happen today. I mean, hey, it's not Feast of Trumpets yet, though. But my next birthday will be a heavenly one. How exciting is that? But we're just sitting outside under the stars and under the lights, just having a cup of tea and just thinking about what the next few days hold. We're thinking about that 3 days of darkness and the rapture on Tuesday.
What better day
than a Tuesday? I mean, it's gotta be. Tuesday is Christ returns day.
Yep. And he's only coming back for our Texas beef.
That's right. That's right. There was some speculation. I don't know if we talked about it, but there was some speculation that they actually sacrificed the cow in secret.
Yes, they called it a practice run, but there was speculation that it was the actual sacrifice.
Yeah.
I think July 1st.
That's that's interesting. It does add a little bit of interest to the whole scenario. And it's really unique now that Europe is starting to call out Israel for a lot of the stuff, and that might actually be a pretty good pivot right here.
Well, okay, so I want to touch on that for a second. She mentioned the Feast of Trumpets. It's a Jewish holiday, and it's tied to this pre-tribulation rapture ideology because of the line in the Bible that says, basically, it says something about the last trumpet blast, and during the Feast of Trumpets, they blow trumpets, as you might be able to infer. But also, your comment about Europe is not lost on me either, because it's also stated in the Bible that this will all happen when God's land is divided. Now, I've got a bit of a logical problem with that, but we can talk about it later after we get into this pivot into Europe and what they're saying about Israel and some of the tide seeming to turn.
Yeah, like these 7 great nations have to start and attack Israel, and they all blow up. Effectively, when they shoot their guns malfunction and actually kill them instead. And so it's kind of funny because it's like it seems like Israel is hell-bent on making everybody hate them right now. Which
what better way to fulfill a prophecy?
That's right. That's right. Let's bring it on. We actually sacrificed the cow in secret, although the very trusty sources of havetheredheifers-been-sacrificed.com still says no. So we'll see. We'll see. But here is Wolf Blitzer giving us a rundown on all of the countries that have so far recognized the Palestinian state, thus endangering the existence of Jews, effectively saying we hate Jews by saying Palestine has a right to exist.
We begin with French President Emmanuel Macron at the United Nations General Assembly. This afternoon, he is expected to formally recognize a Palestinian state. And it comes just a day after the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, and Portugal all came out in favor of Palestinian independence.
Also this morning, we have this new video out of London. The special ceremony marks the raising of the Palestinian flag at the Palestinian mission to the UK. Also new this morning, tens of thousands of protesters in Italy calling for a nationwide strike to support Palestinians in Gaza. They are also demanding that their government join other Western nations to recognize a Palestinian state. Let's get some analysis right now. Joining us now, Axios politics and foreign policy reporter Barak Ravid. He's also a CNN political and global affairs.
Does Wolf Blitzer always use the word also?
Analyst Barak. There's a lot of international momentum right now towards the recognition of a new Palestinian state. How is Israel, first of all, responding to this?
I'd imagine.
Hi, Wolf. I think Benjamin Netanyahu finds himself almost 2 years after October 7th, this horrible, horrific terrorist attack, more isolated than ever. And with Netanyahu, the entire country is more isolated than ever. And I think this is what we're going to see in the next few days at the UN General Assembly. You know, Netanyahu published his schedule for the UN General Assembly. And, you know, no offense to anybody, but his bilateral meetings are with the leaders of Serbia, Argentina, and Paraguay. I covered a lot of his trips in the past. His itinerary looked very different in the past, with many more leaders from more prominent countries. And I think it tells you a lot about where Israel is today.
There you go. All these Western countries. France, Spain has recognized it. The United Kingdom, so England and Australia and Portugal. So a lot of people are recognizing the Palestinian state. Europe is effectively signaling that it doesn't like Israel.
Okay. What state is there to recognize? Are we talking the Palestinians left in Gaza?
Yeah, the flattened parking lot.
Because if that's the case, then my problem with the pre-tribulation narrative, the pre-trib rapture narrative, that's not a division of God's land. That is an existing division.
Well, the existing division is a division of God's land, so it's like it's already been divided.
Right, but the argument is that this will all happen when God's land is divided. It's already divided to that degree anyway. You see what I'm saying here? There's no additional division. It's already divided. So if this stuff was going to start happening when the land was divided, it would have already started happening.
Maybe. Arab NATO, that could be the 7 nations that unite. I've seen the people that do the videos online and say Russia is definitely one of the 7 nations. The nations have all these various names that no longer exist today, but would be symbolic of what those nations are. The whole prophecy of Israel and the second coming of our Antichrist, their I guess savior, is kind of weird.
And I'm gonna take us on a little bit of a tangent here, and you may agree or disagree. I'm not sure, but I see someone or something driving a divisive narrative in this. And, shocker, but there are pre-tribulation rapture believers that will say, and it's not just them, there are people that believe other things that consider themselves to be Christians, that will say that if the Holy Spirit hasn't led you to believe this about the end times, then you're not right with the Holy Spirit. I think there is a nudging of people into those rigid beliefs about things secondary or tertiary even to the fact that Christ died for our sins and was raised from the grave and is the Son of God, that the whole intention in making people more rigid in those other things is to create a division, a further division in Christianity, in the church.
I do agree with that. I see it all the time of people saying, well, you don't believe in this, you don't believe in that. And I think the biggest threat to that division was this Charlie Kirk memorial. Because what I saw out of that was a bunch of people saying, it really, let's fight evil. You know what I mean? We're the light, let's fight evil. We're Christians. We believe in Christ. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that matters. Which could
very well explain the rapid emergence of September 23rd as this date that could spark a debate between Christians that believe in a rapture at all,
right,
and those who don't.
I mean, even so, I was talking to my mom. My mom went to Bible study with a lot of Protestants, and they were more of the I forget the terminology that we were throwing around back then, but effectively the people that believe God is or the Jews are God's chosen people.
Dispensationalists.
Dispensationalists. And because it's really odd for a Catholic to be dispensationalist. And Catholics Catholics believe we are God's chosen people, and pretty much we are the one true church. Now, I as a Catholic, I also accept other Christian faiths as well as being, part of the one true church. But that's all semantics at this point. I mean, I've never really cared for the divide. I've heard a lot of people talk about how I'm not really a Christian because I'm Catholic. It really does not concern me at all. But she's come around now to being like, yeah, they're definitely not God's chosen people. And the state of Israel is doing terrible things on the international stage. So people are waking up to that, and I think that is when Israel starts to get freaked out. When the people that have been saying Israel's our greatest ally are now saying, "Oh my God, they're terrible." Oh, I no longer believe those stories of the dispensationalists. It's got to be pretty scary to be Israel, unless this was part of their devised plan.
I think it is, and that may not be something that's widely accepted. And may not be widely accepted for a while if this continues, but I think it absolutely is. They have an apocalyptic self-image. They believe that their Messiah will usher in a global kingdom where they will rule over the nations. And for that to happen, there has to be an apocalypse. So why wouldn't you try to usher in that apocalypse? That's the whole deal with the red heifers.
Yeah, and it's so clear to me, at least as a Christian, that they missed it. You know what I mean? That wasn't him, but he's coming soon. And then 2,000 years pass, and they're like,
And Christians practically rule the world.
Exactly. And they're like, maybe we should do our thing now. Let's fulfill it, because I'm starting to suspect maybe that Jesus guy might have been it. Maybe we missed the boat.
Well, if you listen to post-millennials, they will tell you that we are in the millennial reign, which there are some problems with that theory as well, some incongruities with Scripture, depending on how you interpret it. Which is always the crux, but they'll tell you that we're in the millennial reign, and eventually the whole world will be Christian, and that's when Christ will return. So they essentially believe that the Jews will eventually turn to Christ through Christian kingdoms and Christian evangelicalism. Which, that's a very feel-good story. That's,
Yeah.
I think, a
I
lot
reject
of...
everything I've ever lived for my entire life. I no longer believe the Talmud and that Jesus is boiling in a river of feces, which is what Jewish people believe if they believe in Judaism in its full effect. They're just going to give that up all of a sudden.
Well, Paul did.
Paul? You mean Saul? He literally changed his name.
You should be a champion for St. Paul.
He is a good fella.
Yes. So anyway, I didn't mean to take us down this theological route, even though it seems in today's age it's becoming more intertwined with politics and with geopolitics if you're actually paying attention to what's going on the geopolitical stage, which, as another aside, I listen to a lot of these geopolitical experts on the podcasts they appear on and the panels that they sit there with their legs crossed on and sip their water and talk about, yes, well, NATO is actually the best thing to ever happen to the world since the spectacles that I wouldn't be able to live without. They oftentimes throw out religion and throw out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to religion, so they don't get a full picture of human geopolitics and relations. And so I think a lot of people who want to get an idea of what's actually happening in the world, not just what's being represented on the kabuki theater that is their television, actually appreciate that we go into some theological discussions from time to time. But I don't want to get too sidetracked on it tonight because there's a lot of other stuff to get to.
No, people like would we do whatever. I think a lot of people like when we just say what we're thinking out loud as opposed to just cover a bunch of ground. But I'm with you.
Just pull the threads.
That's right. That's right. Do your own research, but don't come back with dates for Rapture because then you lose all
just
credibility.
Ranges.
That's right. I think the Rapture will happen sometime between now and the day after the Rapture happens.
Yes, well, you're right.
Good. Did you ever read the Left Behind books before we?
No, I didn't. I think they showed them in some of my church Sunday schools or like vacation Bible schools or something. I remember watching Left Behind and it being one of the first instances where I remembered feeling like somebody was trying to scare me into making a decision, which I, to this day, have a very sour taste in my mouth about whenever I see someone doing that for any purpose. But yeah, I don't remember any of them other than that sentimental memory.
I think it was like a direct. I don't know this, but I think it was a response to the Harry Potter. Effectively, the Christian response to Harry Potter was, let's make a series
I can see that.
That's better than Harry Potter, because they came out around the same time. I recall that, and I also recall the initial disdain everyone had for Harry Potter because it was witchcraft and wizardry. The devil, it's the devil. Don't do that.
Yeah, I actually went to a wedding in Chicago this weekend. And one of the questions, when I said I was from Mississippi, and there had been some discussion about literature leading up to this, but I said I was from Mississippi, and someone asked, "Ooh, were you allowed to watch the devilly Harry Potter movies?"
Growing up?
And I said, no, I read the books.
No, I had to write a 20-page essay on creationism. When I wasn't boiling my drinking water.
I did read the Harry Potter books.
I think I read the first one.
I don't think I watched the movies until, I don't know, maybe I was well into high school at least.
I was always more of a Lord of the Rings fan myself.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yep.
The first book that I ever read for accelerated reading credits, and I think it would have been in the 4th grade, maybe 5th when we started accelerated reading credits, I knocked all of mine out for an entire year by reading The Hobbit.
It's a good one.
It's a great one, and it was so good at that time because I was just old enough to start really holding a plot in my mind and, building it out as I read the book. So it was, I would say, a formative book for me.
Why didn't the Eagles take them on the whole journey, Would have been a lot easier.
Well, Dan, life isn't about convenience.
Right.
And it requires courage and someone to be a hero.
That's right. Not all adventures are May pony rides in sunshine or whatever the saying was.
I don't know that saying.
It's from the books. Wow.
May pony rides and sunshine.
Yep.
Well, excuse me for not remembering a saying.
Well,
from
it's kind of, I don't know.
Books.
Really makes me think that you might have just been skimming it and not reading it.
Well, I had to take a test, and I passed the test to get the points.
Well, very good. You wouldn't have passed my test. All right, we should talk about something else, I think. Where do you want to go?
Well, is that all you had on Europe?
Yeah, well, so they kind of downplayed it a little bit with the European. There's pressure on Netanyahu in here, but the protests that erupted in Milan are kind of big. We're talking about 2020 Antifa-type protests that are going on, so I'll play a little clip from that. I think this guy might be AI, so forgive me for my sins.
Clashes erupted in Italy on Monday, September 22nd, as pro-Palestinian demonstrations turned violent during a nationwide day of protest against Israel's ongoing offensive in Gaza. In Milan, hundreds of demonstrators gathered outside the city's central station. Tensions escalated as some protesters smashed glass and hurled objects, prompting riot police to respond with tear gas and batons. White smoke filled parts of the station as security forces struggled to disperse the crowds. According to a Reuters witness, scuffles broke out across the square, with police lines clashing repeatedly with groups of protesters. Italian media reported that demonstrators also attempted to block traffic on a motorway near Bologna, sparking further disruption. The unrest was not confined to Milan. In Naples, protesters forced their way into the city's main railway station, pushing past security and briefly occupying the tracks. Their actions caused significant delays to train services before police regained control. Across the country, thousands joined rallies in solidarity with Palestinians, with schools closed and public transport partially halted as unions backed the day of protest. In several cities, marches remained peaceful, but the scale of disruption highlighted growing tensions within Italy over the war in Gaza. Organizers accused Israel of committing atrocities in Gaza and called on the Italian government to cut ties with Tel Aviv. Authorities, however, condemned the violence, insisting that while peaceful protest is permitted, attacks on infrastructure and clashes with police cross the line. The demonstrations come amid a surge of global rallies over Gaza, with similar protests seen across European capitals. In Italy, the unrest underscores both deep public anger and the challenges authorities face in maintaining order.
Yeah, so Italy is just, we have, I got a couple other protests to talk about that we didn't last week, but Italy is like the third or fourth country to have these kind of just major protests where people are throwing stuff, burning stuff across Europe. And it's not lost on me that Russia's flying drones over the EU and NATO countries right now, and all of these European countries are kind of squabbling with each other. Squabbling with each other. And it just kind of seems like, the West is very well divided down the line, and it's being played that way on purpose.
Well, I would say so. If you go to The Guardian and look at their article entitled Disruption Across Italy as Tens of Thousands Protest Against Gaza War, you will see on the map, which we advocate you look at maps all the time, basically the World War II axis of evil. You could draw a line right down that axis from Germany to Italy. Those are the countries that have not recognized the state of Palestine. And then you have some Far Eastern and Nordic countries that haven't: Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and then the ones on the axis: Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Croatia, Italy, and Greece. But this is interesting because why haven't there been these kind of protests in Italy, specifically Italy, for example, earlier, when we had things coming out like, 2-to-1 women and children to men being killed in Gaza?
I don't know.
Why now? Why now? Because, we posited in a past episode that now that the war was over, effectively, now the rest of the world would recognize Palestine to be able to say they were on the right side of history, and it basically an attempt to wash their hands of being allied with Israel over the course of this, once they knew Israel's victory was in hand. Do you remember us talking about that?
I do.
Okay. So you have that dynamic of these countries basically in 2025, Spain, Portugal, UK, Ireland, Norway, have recognized Palestine, along with the little state of Liechtenstein. But anyway, well, I don't know. I don't know why that's a marker on the map. Hold that last one in abeyance. This map is kind of crowded. Anyway, my point is, you have all of these countries that seemingly, once the coast was clear and Israel had victory in hand, they said, yep, we recognize Palestine. Look at us. We're the good guys. The Jews don't tell us what to do. And now that Israel has decided to go further and continue their assault on this rubbleized strip of land and people, you've got these holdout countries that haven't recognized Palestine, and there seems to be a lot of pressure for them to do so. And I'm seeing Israel's continuation of this war as pressure for them to do so, and the riots that are happening as pressure for them to do so.
So Spain, France, and the UK have all recognized the state of Palestine.
Sweden, Norway, Iceland, UK, Ireland, Portugal, Spain.
All of them have leftist leaders or left-wing ruling powers.
France has announced it.
Right.
And Macron just announced it like a couple days ago.
Yes, we recognize Palestine if you recognize my husband doesn't have a penis. That's Macron's statement. But all of these countries have leftist leaders except for Italy. Italy does not have a leftist leader. They have a right-wing leader in Meloni, the Forza. So she's no longer, in good standing grace with the globalist European Union. She's got to get into this good standing grace. And so that's why the protests are happening in Italy. We got to get Meloni out. We got to get, House of Gucci in there.
So you would pin these protests more on Ursula than anyone else.
So Germany hasn't recognized Israel.
No.
But where is Ursula von der Leyen from?
Germany.
There you go. The shot color. The capital of Europe, Germany. The unofficial.
I'm not seeing any headlines about unrest over Gaza in Germany.
There you go. Because that's who is stirring up the NGOs and whatnot. And we'll talk about, there's been something that I've learned about Nepal that's related to that front as well. But
Yeah, we've kind of neglected Nepal.
We have. We got
Nepal. They were a bit of a victim to American news.
That's right. I fell by the wayside. So I mean, I think there's something at play here. I think it's the same kind of powers that be that we've been mentioning in Europe, where it's the anti-fascists and the gays and whatnot representing the EU, and then the right wing holdouts in Europe, in Italy, in Serbia, in Hungary, that are getting all of this pressure all of a sudden. And I think that might be a play for Italy, and why specifically you're seeing the left wings groups rise up in Italy now.
That's interesting. I like that. I like the way you're thinking there. Just pointing out that it's a real possibility that Ursula is an opportunist and the EU is using these more or less, we could infer, paid protesters to cause problems domestically for Italy.
Yeah, that's my theory.
Are you sticking to it?
I am. So far, everything kind of falls into that pattern, more or less. It's still a pretty solid framework.
On the note of riots and Antifa, I want you to go into the Antifa folder that I have, and this was originally pulled in regard to the designation by Trump, but we can talk about that aspect of it later. I want us to listen to some of these clips now in relation to Italy and how these protests, keep in mind how these protests have sprung up because Italy hasn't voted away in the UN. So to your point, it's not about their vote in the UN, it's about the leadership in Italy. But if that were the case, you would have to assume that these protests aren't organic, that they're a tool that someone is using to hammer the Italian state. With that in mind, I want you to play first a clip from NTD, Nate Friedman on protests.
It seems lately more and more in the headlines are protests over all sorts of issues, but are these organic or are they paid for? Well, we have with us a very special guest. He's an independent journalist who's found out these are paid protesters. So, Nate Friedman, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So talk to us about, how you found out a lot of these are paid protesters. Did you go in there knowing this, or did you find this out organically?
No, I found it out organically, actually. So there was a big Tesla takedown protest in downtown New York City, and I was struck by how Elon was loved by the left prior to Trump winning. And I saw things switch on a dime, and not just against him, but calling him a Nazi. And as a Jew who had family who've died in the Holocaust, I took that to heart. So I wanted to know what was really going on. So when I went there, I immediately was confronted by a woman who had a troll sign and just followed me. So she looked to have a picture of me on her phone as one of the people sort of that they have to ensure that can't ask questions there, which is pretty crazy. And then I was trying to do any kind of interviews I could, and more protesters would come in with big right-wing troll arrows, and they would have teammates that would beg the person that I'm trying to interview to not do the interview. So that's when I realized, okay, this is not organic.
Wow. So you were just going up to people being like, hey, why are you here? And people were, first off, they had a photo of you. So they knew who you were.
Yeah, they knew who I was. They were taking more photos to intimidate me, but she knew who I was right when I walked in.
That is crazy.
I mean, ask Andy know how crazy that is. He's been getting that for years.
Yeah.
So
this guy is
Crispy. Crispy Mike. It happens.
Did you place a marker?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so this Nate Friedman guy experienced this and then went on to do some research, and his research led him to these names, both of organizations in the first clip we're going to play, funding, and the names of individuals, which we'll talk about after that. So let's do funding.
Well, often it's been said to follow the money. So in this case, I assume you follow the money. Who did the money lead?
Sure. So for this particular protest, it was funded by Rise and Resist, which is funded by George Soros. And you can see that they take money through Act Blue, Act Blue is the Democrat fundraising platform. So People's Forum, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, but also has to do with Rise and Resist, because People's Forum is also funding Rise and Resist as well. So, yeah.
Rise and Resist, funded by George Soros?
Yes, Rise and Resist, funded by Act Blue. Also, so the names you need to remember in perpetuity are the People's Forum, Rise and Resist, Act Blue. Now, most everybody's familiar with Act Blue. It's the seemingly political fundraising arm for the Democrats, but Rise and Resist and the People's Forum, those are the two new ones. Maybe not new, but not as publicized. So before we get into another of the top dogs funding this kind of stuff, let's talk about one of the people on the ground, David Chung.
That's a lot. Speaking of People's Forum, I know you've spoken to someone named David Chung a couple times. Speaking might be a bit generous since you were saying no comment, but we actually have a clip of you trying to speak to him. So let's actually roll that now, and then we'll have you comment.
Of course.
Yo, what's up, David? See you again, man. You want to talk at all about the last video? No, I'm good. What did you think of it? No comment. Did I get anything wrong? No comment. You got no comment? Bro, they're paying you $80K a year to protest? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Tell me if it's wrong. No comment. Do you think that, what's that? You gonna stop him from interviewing me? What do you want to prevent him to say? Getting ready to march.
Right, so there's a couple different times you ran into him. There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot of money thrown around, the group he's with, but break down for us a bit. Who is he? What group is he with? And, why were you trying to talk to him?
So how I met David Chung was I was trying to speak to a protester who had a large flag that said, Allah is the only God. And I wanted to just have a conversation with him. This was after Trump struck Iran, and I wanted to know what was going on. So David Chung immediately comes over to prevent the interview. I didn't know who David was at the time, but he said, we're getting ready to march, which was blatantly saying that he's organizing everything. So looking into David, I saw that on the 990 forums of the People's Forum, he is getting paid $75,000 a year to protest. I asked him about $80K, hoping that he might correct me and say, no, it's actually $75K a year to protest, but I gave him a chance to speak his mind about it, but he refused.
That is insane.
Is that the only thing the lady can say at the end of it?
Yeah, basically.
That is insane. That's more than I make at New Tang Dynasty.
Yeah. Now let's hear about Roy Neville Singham.
So 75,000 to protest.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
So he's with something called the People's Forum. Where is that kind of money coming from? Who's funding People's Forum?
Yeah, so Roy Neville Singham, who is a billionaire Marxist, which obviously, yeah, it's hard to believe, but yes, he sold his IT consulting firm to a private equity firm for $775 million, $785 million. And they had firms in China when he sold it to them, so there could be something there. Anyway, he's given over $20 million to the People's Forum through something called a donor advised fund, which is when you don't want people to know where the money's coming from, you put it through what was called the Goldman Sachs Philanthropy Fund. So it's not traced back to Roy Neville Singham. However, investigations absolutely revealed that it was. And then later on, People's Forum said, we'd like to thank our comrade, Roy Neville Singham, for supporting us. So, yeah.
They even use that language, comrade.
Yeah.
Insane. So Roy Neville Singham, there's a lot of reports about him, quite controversial, right? Ties to China, as you mentioned. Marxist billionaire, so the ideology of supporting socialism or eventually communism, but with a lot of money to actually produce change, if you will, in that direction. So what is his goal with funding all of this protest?
Yeah, so you can see that at the People's Forum, they have a bookstore in downtown New York, and you can see that they've actually doing classes on Marxism and socialism, and they have a lot of young people that come in to learn about it, and they put a very positive spin on Marxism and socialism that historically has never worked. But young people come in through their hatred of Zionism, so they use Zionism as a springboard to get them into socialism and Marxism. So it's an effective way to do things, actually.
Oh, no. The battle lines are being drawn. If you don't support them, you're a Zionist.
Okay, now let's hear the Zionism link.
post.
I want to dig into that a bit because we actually have another clip of you trying to talk to another protest, and then someone blocks that. So let's get into that and then see what's happening over there.
Muhammad. Hey man, how you been, buddy?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Oh, you take me last time interview, right?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
So that's really interesting because, again, it's that same line. We're about to march.
Right.
That
Yeah,
David
exactly.
was saying.
Yeah, it's very scripted. Yeah. So she's taken photos with the PSL, like as an advertisement for the Party of Socialism and Liberation, who the shooter of the DC embassy couple, the beautiful couple who was killed in DC, was killed by Elias Rodriguez, who was actually once was part of the Chicago chapter of the PSL. The PSL is funded by the People's Forum. Now, the PSL stands with North Korea. They stand for open borders and abolishing the police and ICE. So you can see that through this hatred of Zionism, they're able to get people on board with radical policies such as open borders and getting rid of the police.
And yet we never discuss the far left in the mainstream media in this country. Interesting.
Yeah, Antifa's an idea.
That's right. All of our actions are justified because of our name.
Okay, now these last couple things are not going to be as relevant to our discussion in Italy, although somewhat, but I want to go ahead and get all of this out of the way. The next to last is going to be education.
Lately, our institutions of higher education have been in the news a lot for anti-Semitism, blatant, all these protests, uprisings, if you will, that you see on campus, to the point that there's more reports now suggesting that these are actually indoctrination centers, similar to, teaching kids about Marxism. Have you seen stuff like that on college campuses, or suggesting that perhaps our institutions of higher education are more leaning towards indoctrination?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just colleges. The frightening thing is that it's happening to kids that are much, much younger. For example, I exposed a paid protester who teaches gender expansive youth, like 11-year-olds. So this is sick behavior, and it's tax funded as well. She's funded by New York City taxpayers, and there's also a Sadie Leadership scholarship that she's working with over the summer. So they're teaching these kids over the summer about gender ideology. So this is not just about colleges, it's going into elementary and middle school as well.
And given all this, right, the young kids, the colleges, the protests in the streets, what is the end goal here? Is there an end goal with all of this?
I think it's to destroy the West. I think it's to destroy everything that America stands for.
Well, the players that be have really got the other side riled up as well. They really rallied the troops this past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Putting on the full armor of God.
Let's do the last clip before we discuss this in relation to the protests in Italy. Signs.
And given all your experiences at protests, say someone who's on the street, maybe they're curious about what's happening at a protest. What's your advice to them? Like, what should they look out for to see if it is A, an organic protest, and B, if it turns violent, as it does in some cases? What's your advice to these people to stay safe?
Yeah, so be next to the police if you really feel like it's about to get very violent. The police are good, just stay next to them. And if you want to see whether, it's very organic, not very organic, look at the speakers, look at the huge signs with the organization's name on them. These signs are printed, it's organized. So that's what I would look for, the gigantic signs and the long line of speakers that they've booked for their protest.
Reports the BLM protests where you just see pallets of bricks that showed up, or very fancy signs, if you will.
Even in LA, they brought riot masks and whatnot.
It's not, these aren't cardboard signs, right? These took more than one night to make, for instance. I saw some jokes online where they're like the only ones who benefit are the ones selling the flags, because every day there's a new protest, and who's buying the flags? Well.
Okay. If you look up some of the photographers whose photos are being used in the news story I referenced earlier, which was a Guardian story, it's a photo from Matteo Ciambelli is used, and if you find him on Instagram, you can see some more photos that he's taken from these protests.
What's his name?
Matteo Ciambelli. He's a photographer, and his photo was used in the Guardian article.
Okay.
So I found him on Instagram, and it looks like most of his photos are licensed by Reuters. But you can see some organization names in these photos that aren't necessarily published in the news articles. One of these is the Collettivo Autonomo Universitario.
Nailed it.
CAO. CAU. CAU. Key characteristics and activities. Well, I've got this little informational page on them. And under recent activities as of 2025, in Bologna, the group has faced police denunciations for anti-fascist protests in 23 and 24, including spontaneous rejections of far-right presence in university zones. So we have some confirmation that these are the Italian version of an Italian analog, at least, to Antifa.
Okay.
So these protests in Italy are being funded, I would wager, by the same people that Nate Friedman identified as funding the protests in America.
Right.
You see the link I'm drawing here between the paid protesters in America and the paid protesters that have popped up in Italy over a UN vote?
Yes.
Okay. That's the connection I wanted to make with those clips.
Gotcha. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, the No Kings protests, everyone is talking about all these protests. None of them are organic. Organic.
No, and the
organic,
yes, and not organic. And the point that I wanted to make, without just saying it outright, but I will say it outright because I feel like I need to. This isn't just Antifa. Antifa is a sister. How should I put this? Antifa is a branch of an international terrorism organization.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. They destabilize societies, and they make people feel unsafe in society. At any point it could happen. Eric PP points out the Italian branch is called Anti-Forget About It.
Yes, very, very good. Yes, that I'm going to revisit that point when we talk about the actual Antifa designation in America, because I think this is the proof that you need to say, or you could find the proof in this funding network that Antifa is an international organization, therefore could be classified as a foreign terrorist organization. Which matters in American law.
Absolutely. Because, one of the things that you're seeing right now with Antifa, and you have heard in the past, is that, it's an idea. It's not a real group. It doesn't exist, which is right out of the rules for radical Sal Alinsky. It's just deny, and lie.
Yes.
Which is a key point of leftism. It's a cornerstone of the leftist ideology is lying.
Yes, because the ultimate moral is no moral at all. It's power.
Right. And there is no morality at the end of the day. There is no moral headstone like God or religion. It's man. It's communism.
Yes, of course it's communism.
The commies.
Okay. Where... Do you have more Italy? Because I'm interested in hearing more about what's happening specifically in Italy.
I don't have more Italy. I just have that one clip about Milan protests. going up.
That's fine. That is A-okay. So, the rest of my material, unless you want to go ahead and parlay my last clips into the Antifa coverage.
I like that. I like this Antifa discussion.
Yes, okay. Well, to set this up, Trump made an announcement, signed a presidential piece of paper that said Antifa is a super bad domestic terrorist organization.
Yep.
Okay? He did that. And that's basically what I called for in the last episode, The Charlie Show. But what I found upon doing a little more level-headed research was that designation may not carry as much weight as people tend to think it does. And I've got a one clip from the Washington Examiner. It's a good 30 to 40 minute discussion about this from the Washington Examiner, which there will be a link to in the show notes, which you can find at mmo.show and by going to this episode's page. And it's a good discussion to listen to, but I pulled this one clip, very succinct theory, basically, at the beginning of this discussion by Mia Cathell, who is a reporter from the Washington Examiner, and she's got some pretty good articles as well on Antifa. But this is the designation meaning.
So I hope you could maybe take us through what the designation means and why it might be sort of easier said than done, considering its makeup.
Right. If some people may remember that Trump did move to designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization during the 2020 riots. And that same day, then U.S. General Bill Barr announced that he was prioritizing investigative resources towards looking into such groups accordingly. And at the time, and it's showing yet again that such a move is more an investigative pivot. It's largely symbolic because the statutory definition is only a definition. There's no chargeable offense tied to it. Domestic terrorism isn't a standalone crime. And a lot of prosecutors, it seems that they feel there's already so much at their disposal underneath the U.S. Criminal Code. If a violent actor were to murder someone in furtherance of domestic terrorism, they can be charged with murder, convicted, and be behind bars up to life. And so they feel that there's no need for an enhancement, and such things are just declarations. And I see it as something on par with Michael Scott in The Office declaring bankruptcy. You can declare it, and it's a proclamation, and it's a strong signal, perhaps even a deterrent to these kinds of violent actors, but it does not bear any kind of impact on the legal landscape.
So it's got no teeth, is what you're saying.
Right. It doesn't provide any additional tools for law enforcement in the pursuit of Antifa. But if you could designate Antifa as an FTO, a foreign terrorist organization, you would have additional tools at your disposal, and you could root out everyone affiliated with Antifa, from the organizers on the ground to the financiers like Roy Neville Singham and George Soros. George Sclerosis.
George Soros is old now. It's literally his son, I think, that's head of the Soros Foundation.
Yes, I believe so, too.
Yeah.
And he, for what... I don't know if when you get to be that level of reptile, you just don't care about looks at all. You have no, fleshly attraction to the opposite sex. Maybe you don't have any attraction to the opposite sex, and that explains a lot. But he is marrying Anthony Weiner's former wife, or Yeah, I think wife.
Have you noticed that? Like
Uma Abedin, I think is her name.
Yeah, these women, they float around. Like Donald Trump Jr.'s wife used to be, what's his name's wife? Gavin Newsom. These women float around these circles. Yeah. What's his name's? Donald Trump Jr.'s wife used to be Gavin Newsom's wife.
What?
Donald Trump Jr.'s, I think, girlfriend, maybe. Kimberly Guilfoyle, is that her name? Yeah, Kim Guilfoyle. She used to be married to Gavin Newsom. You didn't know that?
Oh, she doesn't look great.
No, she's got the Mar-a-Lago face, as the kids are calling it.
Yes, she does. She does.
Oh, yeah. She was married to Democratic politician Gavin Newsom and was the first lady of San Francisco. Maybe that's why she looks like a clown.
Mean, well, I can't deny that Gavin upgraded. I wonder if Gavin has a Twitter burner and just lays into Don Jr. all the time about, seconds and that kind of thing.
It's possible. People think Gavin Newsom's a good-looking guy. He's not good-looking. He looks like the Antichrist, if I'm being honest with you. If I had to imagine what the Antichrist looked like, it's Gavin Newsom.
He has a very Batman's Joker face. Pointed nose, slender, big smile.
Gay.
Well, there's an interesting conversation happening on some backwaters of the internet about Erica Kirk. And I think to your point about how, as I'll quote Dan Gehring, these women float around. Erica Kirk has ties to Romania, where I believe Donald Trump's wife is from, Ivanka. Isn't she from Romania?
I thought Ivanka Trump was from Russia or Ukraine.
Oh, not Ivanka. I'm thinking of his wife. What's his wife's name? That's his daughter. Melania.
What?
She's from Slovenia. Melania is from Slovenia.
Oh, she's Slovenian. Okay.
Okay. So Erica Kirk potentially has ties to Romania and is involved in an adoption organization based in Romania. She's not from Romania, but does advocacy work for an adoption outfit out of Romania, adopt a Romanian child, that kind of thing. Unless this is all misinformation, which I could be spreading at the moment, but it's interesting regardless. So Erica Kirk supposedly has ties with this group out of Romania and met Charlie Kirk after she had been involved with Trump's beauty pageant. And some have claimed, and actually I'm going to pull up this email and read some of this, just because even though I may not believe some things, I like the way people think sometimes. And if it would stop asking me to verify on my cell phone that I am who I say I am, I would have this up already. Give me 1 second. Filibuster, if you will.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where John is going with this. I think I'm not quite sure what he means with these women float around in relation to Erica Kirk. But
that's what you said. You said these women float around.
I did, but I'm not understanding how this relates to Erica Kirk.
I'm not saying she's been married in the past. I'm saying she had connections when she met Charlie Kirk.
Okay. can I stop filibustering now? Are you good to go?
Yes, you can. Here is a Substack that I will link in the show notes. Kash Patel didn't say R.I.P. Charlie. He didn't say see you in heaven. He said see you in Valhalla. We discussed this.
Yep.
That's not a eulogy. It's not witness protection speak for the hopium junkies. It's ritual language. And if you think it's just a cute Norse flourish, remember, Erika Fransve Kirk's grandfather, Carl Kenneth Fransve, was Grand Chief of the Independent Order of Vikings, knighted by the King of Sweden. Valhalla isn't a metaphor for this family, it's their lineage. Now add the other piece, Erika herself. Boy, is she getting propped. Called her, I think it means to say Trump called her. Boy, is she getting propped. Trump called her the most powerful woman in America. Let's see what else. Trump pageant girl, as I mentioned, casting director, appearing in Kirk's orbit only as Charlie cozied up with Trump, owner of a philanthropy ministry that did work in Romania that reads like a Clinton Foundation kid farm startup, handler vibes all over it. Romanian Angels, Constanta Romania Orphan Project. And it's got a link to that website. Here's the architecture. Trump's mentor, Roy Cohen, literally built the CIA sex kitten blackmail machine. Trump owned hotels and beauty pageants, the perfect farm system for leverage. Epstein wasn't an anomaly. He was a plug-in. You tie that structure to Erika, Viking royal handlers, and Trump beauty queen, and Patel's ritual send-off, and the picture sharpens. This wasn't just a political hit. It's a rite of passage. And I know that's kind of cryptic, but I think what the poster is saying is that Charlie Kirk was a ritual sacrifice, and we're going to see Erika catapult using his sacrifice into positions of power in the U.S. And I mentioned in the Charlie Show episode that we did how I thought it was interesting, to say the least, that she was taking control of the situation the way she was. You know, she didn't ask for privacy. She came right out. She posted the video of her holding Charlie's corpse's hand in the casket. She did the thing on the Charlie Kirk show where she got up and gave the pissed off widow speech. And then they had the TPUSA memorial, where a lot of people are saying, oh, is this what you consider a tasteful funeral? And it's not a funeral, it's a memorial, first of all. So that point is moot. But still, there are people that have been using Charlie's death since the moment the dust settled. And I think this is a very interesting way to think about this, and it's very interesting to put some of these pieces together and speculate on what exactly Erika Kirk is doing.
So her whole marriage to Charlie Kirk was a sham, and he was killed to elevate her political career.
That's the theory presented in this Substack, I believe. Now, you can read it and take from it what you will, but that's the theory here.
I guess time will tell. A little bit morbid, but, that's kind of how the emotional, 40-headed babies, that's how that kind of works.
Right.
So I won't
and it
outright
also
deny it is crazy, but
it's interesting. I put credence into chance conversations about things, and then those same chance associations reoccurring. In our last episode, where we talked largely about Charlie Kirk's assassination, we discussed at some length the differences and the similarities in the emotional response and the differences in the types of people they were between George Floyd and Charlie Kirk. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
This Substack goes on. The two biggest psyops of the last decade, George Floyd and Charlie Kirk, both quote-unquote victims, both icons weaponized for the beast, both born on the exact same day, October 14th. George Floyd, October 14th, 1973. Charlie Kirk, October 14th, 1993. Exactly 20 years apart. One manufactured, quote, martyr of the left, one manufactured, quote, martyr of the right. Same script, different costumes. And then it gets into some gematria with the numbers.
That's where where I get lost, is when they start bringing in the Jewish numbers. I'm like, nope, too far.
Well, it's here if you want to check it out. I thought it was a very interesting, an interesting viewpoint. And, you know, that's what we do here. That's what we do on a geopolitical scene all the time, is look at the different viewpoints of things. We're just not usually as emotionally connected to them as we are with what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Right, right. You know, it's possible that it can serve multiple purposes. Many events do serve multiple purposes. If it bleeds, it leads. But that one is particularly dark, and, you know, I respect the person for writing it. I just don't know how much I believe of it.
That's fine. I'm not claiming to believe it either, but, you know, I think it's worthwhile to mention, because just because we agree with the political leanings of people in power doesn't mean we should not question their motives and the darkness that they could be associated with.
I agree. There's a lot of Christians that had issue with the memorial service being as politicized as it was. Which is, I mean...
I'm going to name this in the show notes, Charlie Kirk Ritual Sacrifice Conspiracy, and then everybody can go check it out for themselves. I'm going to archive it. I'm going to save it offline in case it goes away. We will have it, and I'll put it in our folders, Dan, just so we can go back to it if we ever need to.
Got it.
If we and I think if it's still for sale, I think we would do well to go ahead and purchase for the token $12.99 a year, America for Erica.
No, the other way around. Erica for America.
Oh, it's $25. I mean, it's $28. Let's do them both.
You do it. You buy them.
Hoping you'd do it.
I know. You hope I do everything. I had an idea. You execute it. That's not fun. That's not a fair
Hey, make this T-shirt.
That's right. You do it. Erica for America. America for Erica.
Hey, trolls.
Buy it. Yeah, don't.
Yeah, one day, you know, in 3 years, you're going to have the political activists who get read in that, you know, it's time for a Republican woman. They're going to get their checklist of things to do. They're going to go out there and they're going to find that Erica for America is purchased. And they're going to start asking questions, and they're going to find our show, and their mind is going to be completely blown. And then, you know, they may put themselves in danger and put us in danger too. But,
I could see her getting a jump start as like a VP candidate, like Vance Kirk, 2028 or something like that. I mean, say what you will, the memorial service was great. It was also a political tool that was used, and they teed up J.D. Vance really hard in that. J.D. Vance came out, and he had a very, you know, well-written, well-spoken speech. Trump came out, and, I mean, everyone I've talked to said it was a beautiful ceremony until Trump spoke. Then it went downhill.
I just saw the clip of him saying, "I hate my opponents."
Yeah, I mean, that's the one takeaway, and it was like that was probably the funniest part of his speech. But then he just decided to ramble on for an hour about Tylenol and autism and everything. It's like, oh, Donald, I wish you understood being anything other than you for a minute.
Well, he can't. That he is
Can't help
Donald
himself.
Trump.
He can't help
There's
himself.
no doubt about that.
Hey, there's a
He's
microphone.
Never been anyone else.
Might as well talk about everything I'm doing right now.
Yes. Well, you leave me at a crossroads here. We would be a little early, but we could take a break right now, or I could take the Tylenol thread and pull it, or the continue with the Antifa thread, unless you have something you want to drop in before our break.
I would like to continue hearing about Antifa, personally.
Okay. Well, this is more of I wanted to basically archive this because I think this video will eventually be deleted once it's found, if it ever gets any traction again, which it will be linked in our show notes if you want to try to make that happen. This is a Jubilee production, and I think Jubilee was an offshoot of Vice when they started having financial trouble.
I know Jubilee. They do like people that disagree with each other sitting down and talking.
This is from 4 years ago. Actually, I'm going to get that exactly right. I'm going to open this up.
Oh, no.
This is from 2 years ago. Everything still good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. From 2 years ago, this video is entitled, "I'm Antifa. Ask Me Anything."
Gotcha. You want me to play that correlated clip?
Yeah, Antifa AMA Basics.
I have been involved in anti-fascist organizing and activism for 10 years now, I suppose. I don't think that any person can speak on behalf of a group. So I'm not speaking on behalf of like Antifa as such. I'm speaking on behalf of sort of myself as someone who is anti-fascist.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily, I'm Casper.
Like the friendly ghost?
Like the friendly ghost.
Love that.
This is my first time hearing about Antifa. What is it?
Antifa is shorthand for anti-fascist, and that sort of includes the gamut of the bad isms, you know, so anti-racism, anti-transphobia, anti-Islamophobia, anti-sexism. But I think another core tenet of it is probably also anti-capitalism.
Do you consider yourself an organization?
No. Antifa is not anything remotely close to an organization. It's sort of decentralized and autonomous.
Never mind the money.
And what I mean by that is like, there's no central decision-making body. In fact, there is no center.
Not that you know of.
What do you define a fascist
idiot.
as?
Someone whose political beliefs and values and the world they're trying to create is one of hierarchy and racialized domination, nationalistic domination, and xenophobia.
Nationalism.
Okay,
or
no.
any sort of
no.
power
This person understands Antifa, and we're led to believe this is the a washed in the wool, a dyed in the wool Antifa activist. And they say anyone whose politics advocates hierarchy. This person in black bloc in this video, who again we're supposed to take as a real deal Antifa activist, is against hierarchy. That means they're against nature.
Yep. Well, I mean, the second thing that they mentioned was transphobia, which is in its nature, or against nature in its core.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we should believe him.
Okay.
All right. Now, you can't get too far into this discussion with Antifa without discussing violence.
Ooh.
Do you ever get tired of hiding your identity?
It's kind of fun, actually. Putting on a matching outfit with like dozens of other people in a street protest, everyone just becomes a part of this like moving organism where you can sort of do anything and be anyone you want and not face the consequences of those actions, right? You know, no face, no case is sort of this term that gets thrown around a lot.
So I guess that's interesting because, like, with this belief, do you think it allows people to be more violent without consequences?
Sure. I mean, it makes it more possible to use violence to achieve my means or something like that, because I know deep down in my heart and in my soul that it has to be done.
Would you say Antifa or even yourself think that violence is justified to achieve these goals?
Yes. Violence has been a part of what it means to be a human being. The world that we live in today, with all the bombs and all the guns and all the starving people and the pollution, these are all different types of like violences or something that are happening around the world. And I think our capacity for violence is sort of like that which has been taken from us and concentrated in the hands of the police.
So you're against the police, like no police?
Fundamentally, yes.
Fundamentally. Yeah, this guy's a Reddit neckbeard. His voice is not that low. I mean, obviously they're using like a voice changer, but you can tell he is a Reddit neckbeard.
Yeah. That's okay. That's fine. I don't disagree with you.
He's a LARPer.
Well, so what?
I'm just saying.
Antifa's an idea. He represents the idea. Let's believe what he's saying.
I'm with you. I'm just saying. As a pussy.
Okay, so let's get his opinion on cops. And remember, as we go through these, especially these next few after this one, just remember, this is from 2 years ago. This is the organization that we're just now trying to classify as a terrorist organization.
Gotcha.
One of the most memorable experiences of my life was like watching the 3rd Precinct burn to the ground in Minneapolis during the George Floyd uprising. And that was the first time in American history that that's ever happened. And within days, hundreds or thousands of police cars across the country were like on fire.
You don't think that kind of causes more fear and irrationalization? Wouldn't that be against what you are for, which is like a world where everyone can kind of come together, be, peaceful?
Like, I think the police sort of serve 3 primary functions. One is like to uphold racialized white supremacy, protect the interests of the capitalist ruling class, and the third is to like prevent social movements from being able to change anything.
So then if like I'm in my house, someone breaks in, and like I'm in my closet or my bathroom, like who do I call?
Hopefully not the cops, because they don't really seem to help with that much. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question. I think there's like a million different solutions. What do we do when harm happens in our community? What do we do when people are committing wrongdoings or whatever? And I think the answer to that is like a million different things, but definitely not the police.
There are a million answers, but I can't
give you one. I can give you one. Guns.
No, I thought you were going to rack around, and I was going to fear for my life.
I'll shoot you through the internet. Aim it right at my microphone.
Okay. Milo shutdown.
What's the most extreme thing you've done?
Some of the most intense experiences of my life were the resistance against Milo Yiannopoulos in Oakland, who was a right-wing grifter trying to give some public talk that was shut down by anti-fascists.
Like you tried to stop him from talking, or?
Yeah, something to that effect, trying to basically create such a scene that the whole event has to be shut down.
Antifa, now silencing gays. Good job.
Yes. But I want you to hear that in the context of what happened at Utah State University. Also, this one, free speech.
So I guess it's fair to say you don't believe in free speech?
Well, I don't think that everybody has an equal microphone, per se. The sort of abstract notion of free speech is less important to me than the content of what's being shared. And if what's being shared is calls to violence and anti-Semitism and sexism and racism, then I don't give a fuck about your so-called free speech.
Anti-Semitism?
Yeah. So, this guy's full of internal contradictions.
Yeah.
Which doesn't surprise me because, to your point, he's a Reddit neckbeard LARPer, which I think most people in Antifa are, and they have basically gotten more effective in their street tactics since 2016.
Right.
But their origins are all Reddit radicalization.
Yeah. There's a sign that went up. It was for, gun training for queers. It was posted on a lamp pole in St. Louis here. And it was
what's the
transgender-led instructor.
What's the organization that has garnered some recognition as of late? The troll room should know this. There is a gun club basically for trannies.
Isn't it just trans guns or trans?
No.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, it's all part of this. We're big, bad, and scary, and it's like, I went out and I got a 38, guys. I got the $200 Ruger 38. It's pink, like my hair. Yeah.
The John Brown Gun Club.
John Brown Gun Club. Puget Sound John Brown Gun Club. Counter Extremism Project. Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
I love how it's called counter extremism. They always say what they are, and then say the opposite of it.
Well, they're big on projection.
Yeah, they're like Antifa. The things that they're doing are actual fascism. Counter extremism. This is actual extremism. You know what I mean? Like, let's get together and shoot our guns together, and say that we're. Yeah, and this is why yesterday in the group chat I was like, let's start the pro good guys movement, where we are pro good guys, we're the good guys, and our sole mission is going out and killing the bad guys. And if you are against us, you're a bad guy, and we will kill you. And that's the movement. It's not really an organization. It's an idea of being pro good guy. And you can, what are you going to oppose us? That just means you're anti good guy, so you're a bad guy. You can't do that. There you go. We start our own group.
Yes, and I've got more here from this dunce, this black bloc idiot. Not really an idiot, because it's not what idiot means. But dunce is pretty good. Dimwit, dunce, whatever. So let's do, and this is, I mentioned earlier, he's full of internal contradictions. I condone violence, but I don't think anyone that condones violence should have the right to free speech. But I should have the right to free speech.
Right.
So let's hear him talk about him. I probably shouldn't misgender. Love.
What's something you wish people knew about you?
Wow, no one's ever asked me that question before. I'm looking for love in the world, like in all sorts of forms. Love is an answer, like loving each other, loving ourselves, loving the world. And obviously it's not always, like, the world's a sad place sometimes.
I didn't expect you to say you were looking for love in the world. For some reason, that made me emotional for a second. I guess I'm wondering, how do you reconcile the two, talking about love a lot, but then also being part of a group that condones violence? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a heavy question. Thanks. The world is becoming increasingly uninhabitable. Targeted communities just continue to be targeted. Racialized violence happening in the world, gendered violence. And for me, for love to be able to truly proliferate in this world, so many of these systems need to be torn down. And so many new ones need to pop up in their place. And I don't know what those new ones are. I don't have an answer for everything. But I know that the way that this world is right now is just not conducive to love.
Yes, 200 million must die in the name of love.
Oh, man. This guy's great. We this is what we should be showing people all the time, every time. These are the people. These are
That's
the
what
terrorists.
I'm doing here.
Well, would you like to continue doing it?
Yes, I only have one more clip. I'm skipping the clip entitled I Care because it's just more of the love stupidity from this guy. This is a very interesting dynamic. Now, these people are leftists that are interviewing this supposed Antifa ground soldier. This is why the moderate left has to make a decision, because in the past, they've been nothing but enablers for these kind of people.
Yeah, I appreciate your answers. It seems like you really took some time to think about some of those.
I may not agree with everything you stand for, but I think I agree for the most part, just being a liberal person. I think we both can say that we want the world to be a better place.
I'm not a person with very strong political views. My beliefs are do whatever makes you happy as long as it doesn't hurt other people or yourself. Everybody can be happy without harming others at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're a decent human being and a cool guy.
Well, thanks.
Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Right back at you.
Thank you.
Right back at you. Yeah. So they look at it and say, well, you are out there getting rid of the bad guys, so that's okay, because the bad guys that you deem bad guys are the people that you're going to get rid of. And you're doing it for a good reason, and so we're fine with it. And it's the same reason why everyone fell in love with Eyebrows. What's his name? CEO killer.
Mangione.
Luigi Mangione. Oh, so dreamy. I love people that murder fathers. They're so dreamy.
But there's also an element to this with the Kenosha kid.
Yeah, I mean, you pick your champions based on what side you're on.
Right.
You're talking about Rittenhouse.
Yes, Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse's property wasn't being attacked. Rittenhouse's community wasn't being attacked.
He was being attacked.
Because he put himself in that situation.
Of course. All these people are putting themselves in these situations. The people
Right.
the people that got killed by Rittenhouse put themselves in that situation.
Yes, they did. But what I'm drawing a similarity to these people excusing the behavior of this black bloc dimwit the same way that people excused the violence associated with Rittenhouse defending himself. Even though you can agree that you can hold two things in your head at the same time, that Rittenhouse defended himself, but he also killed two people. Both of those things can be true at the same time, and you can recognize the gravity of both of those. So it's very much you choose and you champion your heroes, the people that you want to represent you, the people that you see yourself in. And I think this brings us back to the two martyrs of our most recent political I don't want to call it an age, but revolution, our most recent political chapter. The two martyrs are George Floyd, Charlie Kirk. You choose your champion, like you said.
Well, maybe we should go ahead with the pro good guy movement. Shoot me an email if you want to be a pro good guy. I'll tell you what we do.
Shoot.
Yeah, that's right. Shoot it right at me. Speaking of which, I had a lot of people reach out for those gun parts. the gun I built. A lot of people. I brought it to the range on Friday. I had some fun. I had a lot of fun. It's a fun gun to shoot. Very loud. Very loud.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Everyone knew I was there when I was there.
So I tend to keep an eye on X as we do the show. And in relation to our previous discussion about Charlie Kirk's assassination and how it's being used politically, Turning Point USA is sending out solicitation emails from Erica Kirk. And the subject of these emails is, "Here I am, Lord, I will carry Charlie's torch."
Yeah. You gotta take advantage of scenarios. Turning Point USA was always a political organization, and political organizations are going to use political events to advance their political agenda. But do you not feel like there is a lighted fire under a lot of people?
Yes, I do. I do, and I think that's why it's such an opportunistic time.
Exactly. But like, there's a lot of people, like, people have been talking about the revival. I remember a couple years ago, they were talking about that college campus where there was like a revival. It feels like there's a spiritual revival in America right now. A lot of people, specifically on the right, very much
feels, and maybe this is me being jaded.
Yeah.
It feels like a political revival.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
More than a spiritual revival.
Well, I think there is aspects of spirituality that are absolutely present and absolutely have been drubbed up. But I don't disagree with what you're saying as far as there's almost an equal amount of political revival that's happening.
Yeah, I'm just leery of his wife's involvement after such a tragedy.
Very well.
I mean, I understand, and I'm trying to put myself in that position. If I knew that I was good enough at anything to be a martyr and would be martyred, I don't know if I would want my wife to focus on raising our children and stay out of the realm that got me killed, or if I'd want her to be the one to pick up the torch and carry on what I had been advocating. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know what I would want her to do.
Well, I mean, my initial reaction to the news was kill them all, which is not a good one. And I've said as much. Not a very Christian response or whatnot, but
well, you weren't alone in that response.
I know. A lot of people felt that way. But through the course of the weeks and thinking about it and watching the memorial, it had got me to at least a better place spiritually, I think. Thinking a lot more about my religion and my faith and my connection to Christ. I feel like I'm a better person because of the events that have occurred. But the motto is still keep one in the chamber. I think it's pray for peace, but prepare for war. Keep Christ in your heart, but keep one in the chamber as well. There's that duality that still exists within me where, I feel better. I feel more connected to Christianity, but at the same time, I'm not going to allow that to be the reason my family gets wiped out. I'm not going to just, get down on my knees and die. I'm going to fight back.
Yeah, but do you think that's how she views it? Of, my husband was killed and now I have to fight back, and the best way to fight back is use his platform?
I mean, I think that is one of the ways to do it. It's better than my version of fight back, which is with guns. I think hers is fight back with the platform. Never let them forget. Constantly remind them. Never let them forget what they did to Charlie. And I use the term they deliberately. And I think that
okay,
is
Tucker.
The power of it. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's was great. I loved it.
He's talking about Dr. Jones.
When he said sit and eat and hummus, I'm like, oh my God. He's leaving nothing up to the imagination. You know exactly who he's talking about.
I wish he wouldn't laugh at himself when he's doing talks like that.
His laugh is insane. You're like, that? I don't know how I feel about that guy.
Can you put a marker down right here?
Sure.
Have you been seeing the tweets that Homeland Security has been putting together? The videos?
Yeah, the Pokemon one is great.
The Pokemon one, and 3 hours ago they posted one. I don't know if there's any audio to it, but I'm going to share it with you and let you play it and just see if there's anything to it. And I'll put it in the show notes so people can see it, even though I'm sure people will find it because if the last one got a lot of play. Let's see, 187.
Where are you sending it? You putting it in the folder?
I will snail mail it to you electronically.
Was it the Department of Homeland? What is the Twitter account that had the Pokemon video?
DHS.
There it is. The video was the best.
Yeah, that one you really need to see the video itself.
This is like...
I mean, you're just going to hear the Pokemon theme song.
It's videos of doors being blown open, people being hauled out of businesses over the Pokemon. And at the end, they go through all of these cards of people. And all of their weaknesses, they have the snowflake symbol.
Ice.
Yeah. You know it's propaganda, but when it's done that well, you gotta be like, my God.
Last night I asked Taylor, we were watching this and getting a good laugh out of it. And I asked my wife, I said, and she never answers these kind of politically charged questions. She just knows I'm sort of speaking rhetorically. And I said, I wonder if the left realizes how good the right has gotten at propaganda.
$1.6 million self-deported, 400,000 deportations.
They simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore.
So there's no actual wording to this. It's just
leave now.
You got deported, dude.
Heard you got deported, dude. Yeah, no, they are. It's scary good at propaganda, actually, and I think it's kind of poking the bear a little bit with the Antifa and these things. It's like, look, not only are we doing all these things that you accuse us and call us fascists for, we're now going to laugh at you while we do it. And it's just pure rage bait, and I love it. I'm here for it. But it is propaganda.
Yeah, it's absolutely propaganda. It's hilarious propaganda, but propaganda nonetheless.
Yeah. I mean, the whole memorial service for Charlie Kirk was propaganda. It was politicized, and it was political propaganda. But it was still beautiful, and I still found myself tearing up quite a few times during it. So,
well, it's still raw.
Yeah, there's
still
actual emotions.
An open wound.
I agree. What do you think? We should thank some people?
Yeah, I think that's in order.
Well, let's do just that.
Millennial Media Offensive.
You are riding along on The Offensive, the 187th version of The Offensive, and we're glad to have you. The Millennial Media Offensive is a show where two guys, John and myself, talk about the happenings in the news and oftentimes discuss our opinions about it. And in fact, that's pretty much the whole show. We don't have any advertisers. We're not going to try to get you to buy boner pills or gold. Instead, we're going to ask you to send us your boner pills or gold. No, we operate on a value for value model, meaning that any sort of funding that we do receive comes directly from the people that are having the conversation along with us. And you can join the conversation by hopping on stream.mmo.show every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. and going to chat.mmo.show during the same time or any time during the week. There's always somebody in there. There's always some conversation going on. Highly recommend it. That being said, we always like to start off by thanking the person that provided us with the art from the last episode, and it was a wolf. It was a wolf classic. I don't even have to look at it, but I'm going to pull it up here on the stream. And it is the Arab NATO. And if Arab NATO doesn't adopt this, they're doing something wrong.
They're really messing up.
They are. This is a beautiful take on the NATO symbology or symbolism, crafted for a very Arabic base. And everything about this piece is absolutely 100% nailed, including the background. It has this very Middle Eastern kind of, I don't want to say terrorist-y, but, hardcore, like green color. Like, the Arabs love the very strong colors, black, green, red, all solid. And then it has the kind of NATO symbol changed to be just more generally Arab in its nature.
Yes.
Like this looks like it came off of a website. Like it came off their official website. So Wolf is the guy who always does. He takes these ideas that I have in my head, and they're not even usually my ideas, but he creates stuff that I wish I could create. He makes them so good that it's like, I don't even want to try because there's no way I could ever produce something this perfect. The font, the background, and the main symbol, 100% perfect. It's a great piece.
And not many people can create a piece of art that has such little content that is this impactful.
Right. What it doesn't have, it's not cluttered, but and it's simple, and it presents the message perfectly.
Yes, it does. It's a great piece. Thank you, Wolf. Another win under your belt. You do have some competition tonight. We've already received a piece of art for tonight, and if you want to compete in the art contest, you can email dan@mmo.show or john@mmo.show.
Or both of us. We would both like to get those. Operators are standing by to receive that art. The next people we like to thank are the people that went to mmo.show/donate and used either Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Stripe to donate. Actual fiat donations. And starting at the top of the list, coming in on September 17th, my 33rd birthday, Serpent came in and he got himself an executive producer credit through PayPal, and he sent us $100.23, and he says, "From your snaky troll, OTO, happy birthday, Nom," and he signs it Jason/Serpent. So thank you very much for that wonderful birthday shout out, Serpent, and a happy birthday to you as well. Serpent's birthday was just yesterday, falling squarely on the fall equinox. So a shift, a change, if you will, upon us, and a happy birthday, Serpent, as well. Good year. We're both Virgos, which means we're feisty. So thank you. Praetor Pareka of the Peoria Diocese, a.k.a. Empress Emily M. of the Restore Christendom podcast, which is live on Rumble on Sundays now, I believe, came in through PayPal with $33.33, and she says, OTO, KOITC, go to Mass. KOITC, of course, being my sign-off, which is keep one in the chamber. I'm going to modify that and say keep Christ in your heart and keep one in the chamber. I love it. Thank you very much. Praetor Pareka of the Peoria Diocese, or Hempress, thank you very much. C. Brooklyn 112 came in through Cash App with $10, and he says, new computer equipment. And that is a message to me that says, use this to replace the dying Dell that you used to produce the show. So thank you very much, C. Brooklyn, for that. Susan A. comes in through Cash App with $5.55, and she says, Happy fall, y'all. OTO.
On the offensive.
Thank you very much, Susan. Much appreciated. The Nail Lord of Gaylord comes in through Venmo with $5, and he says, N-Log here, OTO.
On the offensive.
DJ Horsegoo donation. Where is the Nepal breakdown? Slackers. I got some for you the second half, and it's because of your donation that I got it. So thank you very much, Nail Lord. Finally, Weirdo comes in through Cash App with $3.33 and says, this is a sponsored ad. OTO.
On the offensive.
Thank you very much, Weirdo. I'll be sure to buy some of your shampoo. If you haven't seen Weirdo's hair, you should. The guy must use the best shampoo around. He's got a beautiful head of hair. Very Christ-like, I would say. But that does it for our Fiat Donators. Thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you on the next show.
Yes, and we also have some people who sent in Bitcoin donations through the Fountain app. Trail Chicken comes in with $3,333 worth of Bitcoin. I mean, Satoshis. We can only hope. Great show. Appreciate the consolation. I'm sorry, let me start over. Trail Chicken donates to the show with Bitcoin and says, great show. Appreciate the consolidation of events around Charlie Kirk thus far. Won't hear that kind of breakdown other than on the Millennial Media Offensive. Sign up for the newsletter and stay OTO. Buck, buck.
Buck, buck, buck.
On the offensive.
And one of these, too.
Yes, you can sign up.
Daddy.
Oh, sorry.
Big Daddy.
You can sign up for the newsletter. Excuse me. You can sign up for the newsletter at mmo.show/newsletter.
We're a professional outfit here.
It doesn't go out every week, but when it does, you'll know it. But only if you sign up. Eric PP comes in with 3,333 Satoshis. I believe right now, as of this moment, sent that. And you can support the show in real time as well if you use a modern podcast app like Fountain or like CurioCaster, and you can donate to the show using Bitcoin in real time, the way Eric Pepe did. He just blasted himself. He just elbowed himself into the donation lineup. He didn't leave a note, but he made it known that he values this product with 3,333 Satoshis. Thank you very much, Eric Pepe. Bully Steed is next with 1,234, and says, Antifa uncloaked on MMO, remain on the offensive. Thank you very much. She also sent that this evening. And yes, I believe you should remember the names from the Antifa segment. And if you have time, do some research for us. That is value that you could provide back to the show if you can give us some more threads to pull in regards to those organizations. Who knows? The FBI relies on social media to figure out everything, so maybe we could help them. Cole McCormick 1, not Cole McCormick 2, Cole McCormick 1 comes in with 1,000 Satoshis and says, Charlie Kirk was the most powerful American citizen in American history. He brought RFK Jr. and Trump together. He lobbied for JD for VP. We are in a spiritual war, and the dark side wants your fear to take over. You must choose peace in your heart to fight back. Light versus dark. We are seeing a revelation between the spiritually awake and the spiritually asleep.
Oh, yeah, brother. Cole McCormick does the America Plus podcast. One that I want to go on, actually. I've been meaning to go on. I tried to, and then it just didn't work out. So, Cole, if you're listening, let's set that up soon.
C. Brooklyn comes in with 1,000 Satoshis and no note. Thank you very much, C. Brooklyn. And Fair Volti comes in with 186 Satoshis and says, thank you for your courage, MMO show. Well, thank you for your courage, Fair Volti. Now, Eric PP is streaming value live for every minute that is listened. He's streaming Satoshis as we speak. So not only did he boost the show with the 3,333, but he's also streaming value as he listens. This is the future, people. This is the future of podcasting, of supporting your favorite creators. so that they don't have to shill for stamps.com like you still mail things, or underwear with a pouch for your package,
or for your Rapture,
or clean underwear. Rapture draws.
Rapture draws.
Get them now while they're fresh.
I bet that lady was undercover for the LDS. They're obsessed with underwear. I swear to God.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Yep. There she is. Charlie Kirk was killed in Utah, which is Mormon country. This narrative of the rapture comes out, and now you got Mormons trying to sell you clean underwear.
Maybe Charlie Kirk was the red heifer.
He was the red heifer, and the third temple is your
Mormon
dirty
heifer.
underwear.
Yes.
That's it.
Pay no attention to our ramblings. You can support this product by going to mmo.show/donate. We rely on your donations. We credit you for your donations, and we appreciate them more than you will probably ever know. We wouldn't do the show without them. We couldn't do the show without them. We couldn't justify the time that we spend on the show. And we hope that you will consider sending what you value the show to be worth, and we will put that right back into the show to keep producing it week after week and bringing you a better product week after week as the world gets crazier and people get crazier too.
Well, hold that thought. We just got a new Baghdaddy boost.
Baghdaddy.
Baghdaddy. All right, this one, it comes from NetNed, 20,000 Satoshis through Fountain saying, boosting the culture war king. It's a big boost. Biggest boost we've received in a long time. Much appreciated.
20,000 Satoshis.
Yeah. What's funny is the Mr. Feeney always includes, based on the value amount, he'll include a kind of a little hidden message as well. And apparently the 20,000K or the 20,000 Satoshi hidden message is 20K and an address. That's all I need, and you'll never hear from them again.
That's a very funny note for that note.
It is indeed. Also untrue. But thank you very much, NetNed. I think that does it for our donators and our segment. Let's get back in that second half of the show.
All right.
Get it on.
Sometimes things just work out. Like in Nepal. You heard the Nail Lord, a Gaylord, bring it up. I've pulled this Weon clip. I didn't cut up the whole thing. I just kind of gave it kind of an intro to run down what has been kind of a focus with the Nepal thing before I get into a little bit of analysis, similar to the one that you did behind Antifa. But here we go. Here's Weon, what happened in Nepal.
It took 27 hours for Gen Z protesters in Nepal to organize themselves on Discord, communicate offline through BitChat, and overthrow the government in Nepal. Why Discord? We look at what makes this gamers platform so popular with young people looking to connect and organize.
In Nepal, a generation fed up with corruption and inequality turned to social media, sharing viral posts under hashtags like Nepo Kids that exposed political privilege. But when the government tried to silence them by blocking Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube and other major platforms, Gen Z did not back down. Instead, they got creative, switching to platforms like BitChat and Discord to organize rallies, hold live-stream debates, vote on an interim prime minister, and keep their movement alive offline and online. If there were still any doubts that Nepal's Gen Z was leading the protests that overthrew the government, then the poll on Discord settled the matter. Discord is a social platform originally meant for gamers to form groups and share information. It was on one group on Discord that Nepal's new interim prime minister was chosen. For the benefit of the non-Gen Z among our viewers, here's why this new age online platform became the digital center of the protests in Nepal. A single server on Discord named Youth Against Corruption drew over 100,000 participants and became the heart of the movement. The server hosted a debate on Nepal's next interim prime minister, which was also streamed live on national TV and other digital platforms. After hours of debating and live polling, the Discord community backed former Supreme Court Chief Justice Sushila Karki as interim prime minister of the country. The 73-year-old was sworn in last week after her name was formally proposed to the army.
Right, so that was kind of almost the post events and how they organized through Discord, which was the main tool they used. But effectively what happened in Nepal was the Nepalese government was corrupt, and they decided to ban social media. And I think the banning of social media was to preempt something that happened. It was to preempt this. There's not a whole lot of deconstruction that's going on the Nepal issue, but effectively, I think that the Nepalese government got a hold of this organization that was kind of funding it, which is Youth Against Corruption. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I've heard the name, but only in the context of what's happening in Nepal right now.
So it's an organization, and so they were using these hashtags on social media, Nepo baby and whatnot, and calling out the corruption, and that is when the Nepalese government decided to ban the social media, effectively under the false guise that they failed to sign these agreements, kind of, and that's why they shut them off. That was the underlying reason that they used to say that's why they did it. But effectively, they realized that there was this foment that was building on social media, so they tried to cut it off entirely. And these kids that were already a part of this Youth Against Corruption kind of movement, which is more or less an NGO funded in large part by a lot of different organizations around the world, USAID being one of them as well. They got together and they decided to overthrow the Nepalese government. And so I think this is a little bit of how we talk about, TikTok is programming our kids in America to hate America. This is the United States, I think, kind of response to it is Youth Against Corruption. It's funded by a lot of different organizations around the world, but it's definitely got USAID written all over it, I think.
Which makes sense when you consider the larger idea of the U.S. shifting focus to China from Europe.
Yep, Asia in general. And I think if you were going to have a test run on can this work and can we do it, Nepal would be the best one, because you can't do it on India right away. You can't do it on China right away. You got to pick a smaller country. And I think Nepal is symbolic because it sits between India and China. And it's basically saying, hey, we can come into your own backyard and foment a revolution.
Okay, then I have a prediction. If this group that fomented a revolution in the youth and had the military involved, because the military isn't going to just say, well, that's what the kids want, so let's install this leader. They would have had to been in on it.
Right.
To have been told, the kids are going to vote for this person, but because we told them to, and this is who you need to support as well, but the optics need to be that the person is elected through Discord, and then you support them and do, the bidding of the kids. That has to be the optics of the situation. If that's the case, then we should see the return of the Dalai Lama to Nepal.
That would be something. That would be.
Put it in your book.
I think, I forget what it is. Predict. John Jiddu predicts Dalai Lama returns to Nepal due to yaktivists, which is what they call themselves.
Yaktivists?
Yeah, Youth Against Corruption. Yaktivists.
I like it.
Yeah. Our mission is to leverage youth talent, social innovation, and social entrepreneurship in the fight against corruption. VAG. Our vision is for YAC to become a global trusted movement of youth dedicated to breaking the corruption chain. We're looking at you. Yak Academy, Yak Accelerator, Yaktivism.
5 days ago, Free Tibet.
On their
Oh, I'm sorry. I had something all wrong. Oh no. Yeah. I had something completely wrong. I was thinking of Tibet, not Nepal. So scratch that. Scratch that prediction. It would have to be the Dalai Lama returning to Tibet, which there's been no change in Tibet. You know, you see where I messed up?
Yes. You thought Tibet and Nepal were one and the same.
Well, yeah, sort of. Now, Nepal could have been a dry run for Tibet, but Tibet, that's considered part of China, so that'd be a major escalation. Anyway, again, yes, I don't think you'll see the Dalai Lama returning to Tibet from exile to Tibet. No, I don't think that'll happen.
Good.
So, anyway.
Well, while we're in the Asians and East Asians area, Syria and Israel are trying to reach an agreement. This is something that I pulled last week, but we didn't get to because we focused mostly on Charlie. So I will play this here. Syria, as you know, was recently had an overturning of their government where Assad was overthrown by al-Julani, a.k.a. al-Shara, the ex-Islamist that is now the pro-democracy guy who's yet to implement democracy in Syria, effectively the chosen head by Israel to lead the rump state that is Syria. So here is a talk on the agreements between Syria and Israel.
Now, Syria is negotiating with Israel to reach a security agreement that would see Israel leave areas it occupied after the December overthrow of Bashar al-Assad. Following the fall of Assad government last year, Israel deployed troops to the UN-patrolled buffer zone on the Golan Heights, which has separated Israeli and Syrian forces since an armistice that followed the 1973 Arab-Israeli War. Israel has also launched hundreds of airstrikes on targets in Syria and carried out incursions deeper into the south. In an interview with state-run TV, Syria's interim president Ahmad al-Shara said that the negotiations with Israel are ongoing to restore the 1974 agreement that established a demilitarized separation zone between the two countries, stationing a UN peacekeeping force to maintain calm. In the same interview, al-Shara called Russia a global power and added that relations between the United Nations must be preserved. Now, he warned Kurds against attempting to divide the country, saying this would significantly harm Turkey and Iraq. Al-Shara said that Syria will not give up a single grain of its soil and his government will protect Syrian territory and its people.
Okay. All right. I think what most stood out to me there was this part.
Established a demilitarized separation zone between the two countries, stationing a...
While the revolution was kind of going on, the I guess 3 or 4 day kind of fight to dethrone Assad before he fled, Israel went and bombed all of the military equipment that Syria had. So al-Shara pretty much had to become a puppet to him. Al-Julani, al-Shara, same guy, had to become a puppet to him because they would have no kind of military assets except for a couple of machine guns mounted on some Toyota Helixes, and that's it. But I think that's interesting. Our theory has long been that al-Julani is a Western plant. We had him captured, and now he's leading Syria, and now he's trying to pen a deal with Israel to ensure that he can remain in power. I don't think Syria is going to become a serious democracy, probably ever. That is the Israeli goal, is to keep them a constant state of chaos and a constant rump state. So, best of luck to al-Julani. I'm glad he's changed his ways, and I think you're going to have a hard time running that country, buddy.
Well, he's just going to do what he's told.
Yeah, of course. Keep his head down. A little bit over in the Balkans region, we got election interference coming in hot once again, this time in Moldova. Moldova being that small little carve-out just to the east of Romania and just to the west of Ukraine, right in between the two. Of course, this is where Transnistria exists, which is a kind of a Russian holdout in the area. But they have an upcoming election. They just recently had their presidential election. Now we're talking about more Senate and local elections. And the BBC went boots on the ground undercover to unveil what Russia is doing to influence the Moldovan election. There's a little bit of a rundown here.
A BBC Eye investigation has exposed a secret campaign of disinformation aimed at stopping Moldova's pro-European ruling party from winning next Sunday's parliamentary elections. The BBC World Service has found the network, funded by Russian money, has been recruiting and instructing a team of young campaigners in Moldova to spread fake news in a bid to sway the election, which is too close to call. Seamus Miradan reports.
The world has never watched an election in Moldova so closely, but Sunday's vote is high stakes. Wedged between Ukraine and the European Union, this small nation will elect a parliament that will either keep it on track to join the EU by 2030 or steer the former Soviet Republic back into Russia's orbit. Just last year, Maia Sandu was re-elected as Moldova's pro-European president.
Pro-EU.
She won a narrow victory against a number of pro-Russian candidates in an election marred by allegations of interference. She says this time, Russia is at it again, and the stakes are higher.
Many people see me as the person who works hard for Moldova to become part of the EU, and when they attack me, they attack the EU, the values that EU symbolizes. Unfortunately, we see that.
Did you hear that? When they attack me, they attack the EU, and they attack the values that the EU symbolizes.
The values that EU symbolizes. Unfortunately, we see that this can be very damaging. Russia employs people to produce content which is false, which is disinformation, propaganda, and then to spread this.
Yeah. Eric Pepe points out, strange how the disinformation is always on the bad side. Right. While she collectively refers to herself as part of the EU, an attack on me is an attack on the EU. We are the EU. So the BBC takes us a step further, and they get themselves invited into this disinformation campaign that Russia is really doing. I think a lot of times when I present this, I present it as if Russia's not doing this stuff. I mean, they absolutely are doing this stuff. They are influencing campaigns. Here's proof of the BBC. They got involved in one of these kind of campaigns, and we're having these meetings just to kind of expose what Russia's doing.
Throughout this campaign, the BBC has gone undercover and seen how that disinformation is being spread. We infiltrated a private Telegram channel and, after being vetted, attended online lectures on how to become a paid election influencer, along with dozens of other new recruits. Completing the course led to a job offer. In the capital, Chisinau, we get instructions to conduct unregistered and illegal opinion polls on the street. The voice in charge is on speakerphone and speaking Russian. We soon move up in the network and are offered more money. This time the group is told to create fake social media profiles and given instructions on what to put in our posts, like spreading fake news about the current government and President Sandu. We're told we'll be paid around $170 a month, and that money will come from PSB Bank in Moscow. It's owned by the Russian state and under international sanctions. And it's clear posts like this are being seen. While Moldova is home to just over 2 million people, the BBC has identified 90 TikTok accounts that appear to be part of the same network. They were told to post the same messages on the same days as us, and have had 23 million views and more than 860,000 likes. While Russia denies meddling in this campaign, Moldovan intelligence says Russia is spending record sums to fix next week's outcome. A result which will decide the future of this latest battleground in a wider struggle between East and West. Seamus Miradan, BBC News.
That's weird, you know.
Okay, we know this is happening not because of this report, but because the U.S. has announced that the TikTok deal has been worked out and Oracle will be managing the algorithm.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, and everyone else is doing it as well. It's only a story when Russia does it.
Doing it.
Imagine a party that never cares for free speech. In fact, a party that supports these black bloc protesters to shut down free speech and say people shouldn't have a microphone. Now imagine all those people that are influencers on that side of politics going on and on about free speech because Jimmy Kimmel gets canned for a week. Imagine that.
I know.
All of them instantly, the marching order's gone out. Imagine the Biden campaign having these youth influencers on TikTok put out videos to promote how awesome their prescription drug price bill is. Yeah, I'm sure these random college-age teens just decided, you know what, it's really cool that my grandpa's cholesterol medication is now 50 cents cheaper. I'm going to make a TikTok about it because that's what I care about.
Right.
No, it's the same, and Eric Pepe hit it on the head. It's disinformation when the bad side does it, when the bad guys do it. It's positive propaganda when we do it. Imagine your administration is arresting these people.
Disinformation.
Right. Counter disinformation. Let's show what we're doing and set it to Pokemon themed music. Let's put the deported people and make them Pokemon cards. It's all the same stuff from different aisles.
Well, it goes back to the evolution of the information space that we've posited a few times here, where you're going to have information silos.
Yep.
If you're within this geographic region, you're going to be in your country's information silo. And where it's more difficult is in these places like Moldova, where the geography isn't as easy to define, and it's more difficult to create an information silo and control what is and isn't shown and distributed.
And that's what Nepal's government was trying to do. They were trying to beat back the information silo. So, the ongoing theme of this show for the past 3 years, I think a year in, we brought up 5th generation warfare, if not earlier, probably closer to 4 years.
I think earlier.
Yeah. We were talking about 5th generation warfare, which is basically civilians now are part of the battlefield, and the battlefield, instead of weapons, it's information. This is what we're seeing repeated and cookie stamped time and time again everywhere. It only gets the special treatment on Western media when Eastern influences are doing it. But it's going on everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy who was talking to Charlie Kirk when he was shot and assassinated did an interview with Channel 5, Andrew Callahan.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. Did you see the interview where he was set up, what he had in the background?
I do remember there being something funny that I noticed, but I can't remember what it was.
There were flags. There were 5 flags. There was the American flag. There was the NATO flag. There was the Ukrainian flag. There was the Antifa flag. And I forget the 5th flag, but it was like this kid was fitting.
It wasn't a gay pride flag?
It was a gay pride. It was a pride flag. He fit in all of the categories. Like 100% of the I believe I'm on this side of the politics, so I believe this NATO because that's under attack from Trump, and so that's now the left has to be pro NATO, gay pride, Antifa, the other ones I named, which I forget, the American flag because the left are the true patriots, and the final one that I've said but I forgot again. So it's like this kid, the Ukrainian flag. So this kid is just like fully fitting the profile of typical leftist, I believe in everything I'm told to. Kind of, and that's 5th generation warfare. I just thought, it struck me as so funny that was the kid's background. And what was interesting was when they did the interview, a plant was perfectly situated in front of the Antifa flag. So it kind of obscured what it was, but a trained eye could still kind of make it out.
Yeah.
And I just was like, it was like that right there is symbolic. Like I've got a bunch of flags on my ceiling, but they're mostly places I've been and places I've lived. And then like the Kim Jong-un one, and it's really just to help with sound, but it was just like, it's so funny to see the inside of this kid's brain based on what he decided to put on his wall and how they decided to structure the interview so those were prominent behind him.
Yeah. It's a good observation.
Yeah. A little too perfect.
Yeah, and once you get this idea of information warfare in your head, it's kind of easy to see it everywhere. You see the narratives go out, and you see them proliferate with people who are helpless in that regard. They don't know that they're being used with these narratives. And a pretty good example of that are the narratives that have gone out on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, about or in the wake of Trump's autism presser. If you're through with overseas and want to use that as a segue,
there is just one more thing that I want to put in the backdrop of all of this. While we were talking about Charlie Kirk and whatnot, that we keep hearing stories about Russia, going into NATO and EU airspace. So you heard about it in Estonia, and you heard about it in Poland. And so Europe is getting that perspective hard. They're seeing all of these incursions and all of these invasions, and then outfits like the DW are running segments like this. And this is just a kind of a simple video, but it's of a mother who's volunteering for the Polish army. And I think it's kind of the messaging that, hey, it is really, really, really time to start preparing for war.
All hands on deck.
Exactly. So I'll play this, and this is again is sharpened propaganda, angled, targeted, and sharpened propaganda.
I always say I would do anything to keep my child safe. I would absolutely stand and fight to protect him. And the rest, well, it's always been my dream to join the army, but somehow when I was younger, and I'm a little older than all the other participants here, I guess I was just a bit scared. And then came marriage, children. You know how it is. It's always there in the back of your mind. You carry it with you, thinking that something might happen one day. But I try to live in the moment, focus on the here and now, and prepare myself to function in this new reality.
I always wanted to join the army. I'm a little bit older, but I'm having fun. It's a fun time. Join up today.
It's a new reality.
That's right. What we're living in. So I think Europe is all go for World War III. They're there, and that is kind of scary, specifically because Trump has proven himself.
They're there, but are they there for war, or are they there so that Ursula and her cronies can keep a grip through another wave of elections?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the main angles for sure, but you got to get the people scared. And when the people are scared, then they vote for you because you're the one with the solution. Look, we're taking control. We're no longer so dependent on the United States. We're going to be funding this. A lot of these countries are now having trouble with their budget. France, Germany, you're seeing the large protests that are happening there. And so it's now you got to introduce the element of fear. And, I think last week we talked about how Charlie Kirk getting shot felt a little bit like a 9/11 for us. And now it's like the memorial service happened. And as you pointed out, it was very political. And, it had activated the political right. And basically the message is, well, now we're going to vote even harder, for a lot of the right.
Yes.
And so it's that constant, and it is like these mini 9/11s that happen to get countries and the people all on board. And I think that's what these drones entering the airspace or these airplanes entering the airspace kind of is. I haven't heard Russia's response to this for the reasons for entering the airspace. I haven't heard Russia confirm or deny that they've entered the airspace. Do we really know if Russian drones entered the airspace? Or is it a fabrication? No one really knows. So Could be, another night at the Reichstag or fire at the whatever. Basically, the fake Polish story that led to the start of World War II.
I'm looking on RT to see if there's anything about these incursions.
It's a good place to look. But yeah, it's it is. I think I'm gonna go back and like give you credit for what you were saying about the Kirk assassination, and how Eric Kirk could be suspect, because it's a lot harder to call out propaganda when you have been emotionally impacted by it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do know what you mean. That's part and parcel of propaganda.
That's right. So when Charlie Kirk got shot, it was like, that could be me. That is me. You know, I am Charlie Kirk. And it's like, all right, let's take this energy and these emotions that you're feeling and let's channel it in a way. And I think that's kind of what it is. And, part of it too is channeling that into a political movement and system might be better than channeling it into civil war. But I've always got one foot in the Civil War preparedness campaign, camp. But it's dawning on me that perhaps I was less receptive to what you were saying because I was so emotionally impacted by what happened to Charlie Kirk.
And that's understandable.
Yeah.
And, that's also why when something happens that doesn't affect us emotionally, the way that it's obviously affecting other people emotionally, like George Floyd, we should always keep one foot on dry ground of this is meant to upset these people.
Yep.
So we should be understanding of their being upset.
Right. So, there's a lot of theories surrounding the Charlie Kirk. Most of them aren't, I don't really, a lot of them have just kind of come and gone. The Man of Steel, the bullet didn't exit or whatnot, which doesn't really make sense for a 30-06. It would travel right through a neck. The 30-06 historically is a deer hunting rifle, and when you shoot a deer, you shoot it through the front leg, through probably one of the thickest bones that it has, and it pierces that with ease, and oftentimes travels on to the lung or heart of the deer. So it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense that a human neck would stop that bullet.
Clavicle, to be exact, is what they said.
Right. So,
and I don't think they say that it stopped it. I think they say that it directed it downward into the torso.
Right. So all of that to say, there are suspicious things around Charlie Kirk's death, where it does seem like there's more to it than what we're being told. And so, it's case in point, this could be a propagandist hit or a sacrifice, like that one article pointed out. But at the same time, it's still sad and impactful. So
yeah, absolutely. And to deny that would be taking the route of the people that celebrated his murder.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, there are two children that will never ever be able to hug their father again.
Right. And that's only going to hit you harder.
Yep.
As the days go on,
right.
I promise.
That's right. I believe it.
So I've got a quote from RT here. Estonia, a Baltic member of the U.S.-led military bloc, last week claimed that 3 Russian MiG-31 jets breached its airspace. Moscow has denied the claims, saying that the planes did not deviate from their routine flight path and arguing that NATO lacked evidence. So they're denying it.
Of course. But Russia would deny it because Russia lies because they're the bad guys.
Yes, they also say in this article that the drone claim that came out of Poland earlier is also baseless.
There you go. So did it even happen? That's the point that I'm at with Western media, is I wouldn't put it past them lying about something that could very well easily turn into a hot war. And I feel
and the worry is that they're using this to spin up their population because they intend to be opportunistic and to initiate a war with Russia.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. Especially if they feel like they're losing control of their people and their continent. You know, we talked about the directed energy of JFK getting killed into sending the kids to Korea to go kill some commies. Very much, you know, how do you unite a population? Find a greater evil. Now, I lived with 4 roommates in college. One of them, none of us liked very much, and so the 3 of us became much stronger and much closer in our shared disliking of the 4th roommate. So.
Well, I don't know about the Korean War thing because the Korean War ended in 1953.
No, not the Korean War, the Vietnamese War. The Vietnam.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I might have said Korean War because Trash Man had written Korean War in the chat room. So
see, that's why I'm not in the chat room tonight.
There you go.
You can go to the chat room at mmo.show/chat.
Chat.mmo.show.
Chat.mmo.show. I have a piece on this autism presser.
Okay.
And, you know, we were talking about the Rapture earlier, and I want to clarify one thing here before we go into the autism thing. I just want to clarify that over the course of the show, I've done a little bit of digging into the Feast of Trumpets. The final trumpet of the Feast of Trumpets will be Central Time between 2 and 3 a.m. So we're not out of the clear. We're not clear yet, Dan. We could still. I need you to wake up at about 3 a.m. and call your mother-in-law and make sure that she's still there.
The canary, the mother-in-law in the coal mine.
Yes. The Rapture barometer.
That's right.
So, yes, the last trumpet will be between 2 and 3 a.m. Now, with that being said, there were some pharmaceutical executives whose souls left their body when they heard this Tylenol ISO today.
Don't take Tylenol.
Oh, man, I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I stubbed my toe. What should I do?
Don't take Tylenol.
All right, I won't. Jeez.
Oh, I forgot you were here. Yes, that is that is from the press conference on autism today from the White House. And the only thing I just want to talk about what was said generally, and then I have a couple of clips about this and from this. Basically, Trump came out and said, you know, the boys, RFK and Dr. Oz and a couple others, are still working on this, and they have laid out some money for studies, so they don't know exactly yet what is going on with Tylenol, if anything. But I'm not a doctor, and I'm speaking as Trump here. I'm not a doctor, and I don't have any reservations about telling you not to take Tylenol if you're pregnant or not to give Tylenol to your child if they receive a vaccine. It was incredible, and people are really missing the point here. They're missing the forest for the trees. The forest here is that Trump said, the studies aren't done, but there's no harm in me telling you not to take Tylenol. We think there's something with Tylenol, so instead of waiting and letting people suffer if there is, I'm comfortable telling you not to take Tylenol. He even acknowledged that he could be wrong about Tylenol, but said, I'm willing to be wrong in the case that I'm not, and it helps some people while these studies finish.
It's interesting.
I think that is incredible.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, too, that he said Tylenol and not acetaminophen, which is...
Well, he tried to say acetaminophen one time and couldn't do it.
Okay. Don't take Tylenol. Well, and that's the kind of the funny thing is now you, because of this absolute state of culture war, you know that there's going to be videos of pregnant women popping Tylenol on camera.
There already are. I've seen them.
There it is. Yeah, like you know how culture works at this point. Like, oh.
Yeah, and the fact that there are people that think their political statement and their political status as nobodies are more important than the health of the fetus in their uterus is a terrible indictment.
It's the light versus the dark, my friend.
Nuts is what it is.
Yeah.
It's freaking nuts.
Yeah. That's funny. I was like, I can already tell what people are going to do, and they're already doing it.
They're already doing it. Pregnant women videoing themselves taking Tylenol as a political statement.
Man. You know, maybe I think that proves Trump's point. Oh, yeah, I'm watching it here. Pregnant woman rubbing her belly, popping Tylenol. Well,
did you know Tylenol is the leading cause of liver failure?
I did know that. I knew it was bad for the liver, and that's why you're not supposed to take it when you're hungover.
Yeah. So basically, that's what he said.
Sorry, I was watching a video of a woman.
Yeah, I know you're scrolling social media.
Yeah.
He said, look, I don't have any reservations about telling you not to take Tylenol. Studies are still ongoing. We're going to give you regular updates, but we think Tylenol has something to do with it. And we also think that you should space out your childhood vaccines. He was very clear that they believe in vaccines, but that they should be spaced out and not all given at once, and that the MMR shot should be broken up into individual shots instead of a combination shot. Which again, to me, as someone who's had a child and has done all of this research for myself from all different angles, that all makes sense. It makes good sense. I'm not going to do something just because the CDC says it's the thing to do. I'm not going to not do something just because the CDC says it's the thing to do. From everything that I found and that I read, and I am a fallible person, I am in no means perfect. There could be something that I missed. I have a job. I have several jobs. I have things to do. I had a pregnant wife to help. I could have missed something. But from everything I saw in a genuine effort to learn about what was going to be recommended for my progeny, it only makes sense that you spread these things out and not try to combine as many as you can at one time. The human body, the immune system, especially the infant immune system, can only handle so much. There's a level of common sense here that somewhere along the way has either been pharmaceutically removed from some people or has just been eradicated through information rituals or something. I don't know. It's really concerning to me that this basic level of common sense is just devoid of some people. Some people are completely devoid of it.
Man, you're not alone in that opinion. I see people with doctor in their name on Twitter saying, seeing women weaponize their pregnancies for political points by taking Tylenol to spite Trump is batshit insane. Totally, absolutely batshit insane. There's a funny one from Babylon B. Pregnant women begin downing Tylenol and hope sons will start electric car companies and become billionaires. Elon Musk did not retweet that one.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I had to give you a second, but that's funny.
Yeah.
There's something deeply wrong, and sort of the bow that I put on my opinions from the last show were that these are broken people. That is, it may apply from here on out. While I think these people are insane, it's not that I think they themselves are hopeless. They're just in a state of consciousness that is in a very bad way. They are broken. That doesn't mean they can't be rehabilitated, not to put it in too much of a work camp way, but I think they can be redeemed is the way I should put it. But I mean, currently there are some broken people in our society.
Don't do this. I hate you so much. I'm going to do it. I'm going to jeopardize oh my God. It is dumb. It is very dumb. I mean, Tylenol says it on their bottle. It says don't take this if you're pregnant, or take it in small quantities if you're pregnant.
Well, that's basically what the recommendation was don't take Tylenol, and if you absolutely have to, take it in the smallest effective dose for the shortest amount of time. Because ibuprofen is actually really bad to take when you're pregnant. I mean, there are documented cases of major complications, if not miscarriage, from taking ibuprofen when pregnant. Tylenol is the only pain reliever that is recommended for pregnancy. And, I had mentioned earlier that you can see the narratives forming around all of this. You can just see the narrative machine spinning and people throwing out what they've seen, and they're just parroting what they've seen. The classic example, coming from a small town, I can see something develop on Twitter, and then over the course of the next few days, I'm looking for someone from my small town to say the exact same thing. And I know it's not coincidence. They're not just, getting this idea from the ether because other people are saying it. They see it and they replicate it. And that's how you can see these things really develop and spin up. And the one I had in mind earlier was the narrative that the Trump administration is taking away the only method for women to cope with pain in pregnancy.
It's the Handmaid's Tale.
Yes.
They hate women. Christian nationalists. They want women to suffer and be obedient slaves. And we represent that, John. That's why so many women listen to this show and support us. Oh, man. Everyone's crazy.
Truly. To be able to keep your sanity in times like this is truly a blessing. That's one way to look at it.
If you can keep your head when everyone is feeding their babies Tylenol.
So I brought this clip just so we could archive basically the studies that are mentioned here so that people can look into them if they want to. This is the studies clip.
Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks in pregnancy. We now have data we cannot ignore. There's a very large study, the Boston Birth Cohort, with researchers that have, from Johns Hopkins, my former institution, and Boston University, found quote-unquote consistent associations between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. And the Nurses' Health Study with researchers from Yale, Columbia, and Harvard looking at 9,000 kids found that acetaminophen use in pregnancy was associated with neurodevelopmental disorders. And 4 weeks ago, a Mount Sinai Harvard study reviewed all the existing literature and found the overwhelming body of evidence points to an association. Sure, you'll be able to find a study to the contrary. That's how science works. But to quote the dean of the Harvard School of Public Health, there is a causal relationship between prenatal acetaminophen use and neurodevelopmental disorders of ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. We cannot wait any longer. And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless practice in medicine. I learned it in medical school and residency. Just treat all fevers, low-grade fevers, treat them with acetaminophen. Why? What are we doing? A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because a fever is a body's natural way of ridding an infection. When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely new.
New. What is that? I don't know what that is, but
that is
new.
A boomer trying to do millennial stuff, which is equally annoying when millennials do it. Yeah, I saw some posts, some people, a correlation does not equal causation, and women have toughed it out enough over a pill bottle with blue pills inside. So the culture war rages on. Idiots.
Okay, I pulled this. This is Trump being cute, and I thought it was funny. This is him talking about drug prices. Doing his
We pay
shtick.
much higher for drugs.
Oh, sorry. Doing his
That's
shtick?
all.
Okay.
Yeah.
We pay much higher for drugs than the rest of the world. We subsidize the rest of the world. We're not doing that anymore. And that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's bigger than anything. I told the story the other night that I was so proud of my first term that for the final year, drug prices went down 0.25%. And I was so proud. I said, why? I'm the first one to do it. I think it was 28 years, they said, where drug prices went down from the beginning of the term to the end. And I was so proud. I called a news conference. I said, you know, drug prices have gone down. First time it's happened in 28 years. You know what it was? 0.25%. I was so proud. Now we're going to have them go down from $100 a pill to $9 a pill. From $1,300 for a shot of like an Ozempic or the fat, I call it the fat pill or the fat drug. Sometimes it works, I guess, for people. The ones I've seen, it hasn't worked so well. I got a lot of friends, they're fat. They said, yeah, I lost some weight. I said, you don't look it to me. But they paid $1,300, $1,200, and they go to London and they pay $88. And they call me, they go, what's this all about? We're subsidizing the rest of the world stupidly because there are a lot of stupid people in this country running things. And how big is that? But to me, that's nothing compared to autism.
The weave.
The weave,
Yeah.
yes. I call it the fat pill.
Yeah. I want to know who the people are that are calling him from London, saying, I only paid $88, Mr. President. What are you doing?
Hey, Donald, how do you think I look?
That's right. Fat. You look fat.
Fat. You look fat, Phil. I've got, to wrap this up, I've got a little fun thing from MSNBC talking about this just to get a little bit of media coverage in. This first clip is Joe Scarborough. Now, you'd be remiss if you think Joe is actually going to ask an expert like Dr. Gupta a question. So this is just Joe doing his thing.
I also have a child that has Asperger's on the spectrum, and through the years, we've looked through everything, and there are no simple answers. I do want you to, though, talk about what the knowledge, the general knowledge of these spectrum challenges for children and the increased reporting of autism type conditions or being on the spectrum. You know, there were kids when I was back in middle school and high school that were always seen as kind of quirky and quiet. And even if they did well in school, they were just sort of socially alone and by themselves. It would, you know, that was the 70s and the 80s.
That was me.
Today, they would have very quickly been diagnosed with maybe Asperger's or being on the spectrum. 30, 40 years ago, it was just like, oh, he's just kind of quirky. He's kind of different. She's kind of quirky. She's kind of different. Talk about how the increased knowledge of some of these challenges for our children have increased the numbers. So when you hear 1 in 10,000 maybe were diagnosed, and now it's 1 in 10, part of that just has to do with the diagnosis and the understanding of some of these spectrum-related challenges.
Okay, so my question, and we do get an answer from Gupta after that, but my challenge there to Joe would be, if our diagnosis has gotten better and you're still alive and you went to school with these people who weren't diagnosed, why aren't they being diagnosed today? They're your age.
Right.
And you think they would have been diagnosed then. Why aren't they being diagnosed now? Are you suggesting people grow out of autism, no matter how mild? Because that doesn't seem very scientific or backed up by any science. Or are you just being Joe Scarborough?
Well, I think, you know, we gotta, don't kill your interns. Your kids might be born with Asperger's. That's one warning that we should probably put out there.
We have observed a correlation.
Yeah. Don't marry your co-host.
Well, you got nothing to worry about there from me.
That would be something. I would rock your world.
So Joe, whether you'd be remiss if you didn't think he asked a question there. So Dr. Gupta is going to answer him.
Joe, very well said, and that's exactly, you answered the question you were posing, which.
Okay, but seriously, here's what Gupta had to say.
Gotcha.
You know, why are we seeing an increased incidence of autism? It's an important question. I do not take fault with a health secretary prioritizing this as one of many priorities. Shouldn't be the only priority. Sometimes feels like it's the only priority that he has. But you're right. This is an important question. What's at hand? And it's absolutely what you just said. We're better. We're thinking about it more. We have diagnostic tools and clearer criteria than we did a few decades ago. So clinicians that are just coming up the ranks, resident physicians on up, know to think about it in the pediatric clinic, in the general medicine clinic, and they're asking those questions, doing those screenings. So that's number one. But let's be also clear, the risk factors, the actual proven risk factors, not vaccines, not Tylenol in pregnancy, are also increasing. So what are those? We know that as mom and dad age, before, say, the birth of their first child, that's a risk factor. Older age for both mom and dad at first birth. And we know that that's increasing both at the macro level. It's increasing. Both mom and dad are older on average since say 1980, when they're first having kids. Lifestyle reasons, environmental risk factors like air pollution increasing. So the actual risk factors are increasing in addition to diagnostic certainty.
What?
He's just saying that there could be external or environmental factors influencing the prominence of autism, which in the press conference, the Trump administration said, yes, that could be true, and that's what we're looking at. We're taking a holistic approach to trying to figure out what's happening here and what's influencing these autism rates. So Gupta's not wrong there. It's just sort of a sidestep around the issue of Tylenol, the potential issue of Tylenol.
I could see this being used in comparison, again, by the left to Nazism, where if you've ever seen the show Man in the High Tower or High Castle, I forget which one.
High Castle.
There's like this prominent American Nazi, and his son goes to a medical checkup, and they find something's wrong with him. He's got some sort of developmental issue, or his bones aren't right, or his genetics aren't right. And so procedure is that they go and get killed. Pretty much they kill these people off. I could see this being spun around into something like that on the left, where this is kind of like that Aryan perfect genetics type thing. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with autistic people, which it's true. There's nothing wrong with autistic people.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't try
to avoid
decrease the prevalence
Exactly.
of autistic existence.
Exactly. But that's, you know, when you're blinded by ideology, that's the only rationale you see is this has got to be Nazi stuff, Nazi Aryan genetic manipulation.
Yeah. Which, again, wow.
Yeah.
The mental gymnastics.
Ugh, people are crazy. People are crazy.
It makes it's a good time to be a podcaster.
It is a fun time. Well, we watch society completely come unraveled around us. At least we know some people are sane and with us on the offensive.
Yeah, and hopefully more and more as time goes on.
I think, looking at our clips, I think we both pulled the server or the sim farm clip.
Yes. Yeah.
You want me to play yours?
Sure.
All right. Is it like a back? I guess everything would be a backgrounder at this point because it's a new story that most people haven't heard about. So I'll play it.
This morning, the U.S. Secret Service believes it disrupted a plot that could have collapsed the entire telecommunications system in New York City. And law enforcement sources tell ABC News it's believed to be connected to the Chinese government.
Ooh.
Officials say several individuals, including at least one with direct access to the president, began receiving threats this spring. In recent weeks, investigators tracked those threats to multiple locations in and around New York, where they said they seized hundreds of servers and more than 100,000 SIM cards, enough equipment to send 30 million anonymous text messages every minute, overwhelming communications.
They found empty apartments with servers and server walls capable of making millions and millions of phone calls in and around New York City and the world that could potentially cripple New York City and other parts of the world.
There are no arrests yet. The apartments where the equipment was found were empty. Investigators suspect the alleged plot is the work of a well-organized and well-funded group that law enforcement sources say is believed to be linked to China. Now, the Secret Service is still working to determine what all the equipment was meant to do and whether there was a specific target. But as one official put it, guys, the potential for disruption to the country's telecommunications posed by this network of devices cannot be overstated.
What I thought was particularly chilling about this was the Secret Service themselves released a 3-minute video talking about it, about this as a threat, seeming almost implying, I thought, that there's probably more of these around the United States everywhere. Like every major city has one of this. What I also thought it was interesting that it was the Secret Service that discovered it, and the Secret Service that is warning people about it. It really seems like something the FBI would be talking about and investigating and doing.
Yeah, it really does.
But like, so I'll just play. I just want to play like the beginning of my clip just to show you like what I'm talking about a little bit. If it plays.
Hello, my name is Matt McCool, and I'm the special agent in charge of the Secret Service New York field office. We are making this announcement as a matter of public interest given timing, amount, and concentration of material recovered during a recent Secret Service Protective Intelligence investigation. Following multiple telecommunications-related imminent threats directed towards senior U.S. government officials this spring, the U.S. Secret Service began a protective intelligence investigation to determine the extent and impact these threats could have on protective operations.
So basically, they're saying our government people in the government were receiving directed, threatening text messages, and so
yeah,
they
and
think it
from
was
what
there.
I'm reading, swatting.
Yeah,
anonymous swatting.
So, it's probably something where these are available. I remember when AT&T went out, and it went out at 3, and everyone was saying it was a botched software update, and because it happened at 3 a.m., that's what it has to be. And then a month later, AT&T is talking about how all of their customers' data was leaked. Every AT&T customer had their data leaked. Now, I've been getting calls, and usually I'll get a warning. It's a spam call or a number I don't have. What's interesting is I don't have a 314 area code, which is St. Louis. I have one from where I am in Wisconsin. Yet I'll get spam calls that have the 314 area code, even though I have a different area code. And I'll pick up, and it'll usually be like this line. And then if I say something, the call will get routed to a person that picks up.
Mm-hmm.
I got routed to a person with a South American accent, and I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" He's like, "Kansas City." I go, "No, I mean your South American accent. Which country is that from?" And he started going, "Oh, it's Argentina. Very clever, Daniel. Stay clever, Daniel." And he kept saying that, "Stay clever, Daniel," as he hung up the phone.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird? That's really weird. But like the South American accent threw me because I was like, usually you get Indonesia or India, that kind of stuff, but South America, it's a new market. So then this is discovered today, and I find it odd. I haven't received a single one of those spam calls today. Like usually I'll get 2 or 3 a day, but not today. So I think the Chinese government might be laying low for a couple of days on all their other locations, if indeed they did have other locations. They were able.
Right.
They said something about being able to send out like 12 million phone
I thought it
calls
was
and text.
30 million texts a minute.
In 12 minutes, they can do the whole United States. Is basically what they were saying with this amount of power and capability.
Yeah, and that's about how many calls I was getting.
Yeah, 12 a minute.
Yeah, well, 12. One every 12 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know. It would be, if the calls stopped, that would be, that's a huge win. I can hear Donald Trump talking about that for years. Remember those spam calls? We stopped them.
How long has it been since you got a spam call?
Yeah, exactly. It's been about 24 hours for me, Mr. President.
Carry on, sir.
All right, I got other stuff that's really not that interesting, so I'm probably done for the night.
Well, if you don't think it's that interesting, why don't we go ahead and fire that outro up?
All righty, let's get out of here. Every now and then I pull clips and content in the precautionary step that I don't find anything else, and I'll bring it. And I'm always so happy when we have a good enough conversation that we don't need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And that was tonight. Tonight was a good show. Initial problems with my computer, but overcome, ultimately. Another banger.
I was surprised that we didn't have any trouble, as worried as you were about it.
Well, my computer was... So usually it is the stream itself, the stream computer, that has issues. I was really working with Claude this week to put in as many preventative measures as possible to make sure that while we're doing the show, that computer is pretty much just a streaming machine. And that's what I did, and it seemed to have worked out well. So
very good.
Usually we run 2 streams, the live stream and the music stream. During this, the music stream becomes unavailable. It shuts down. It frees up CPU and RAM on that computer to make sure that it is 100% dedicated to serving MMO. And
as it should be.
Yeah, as everything should be. It's done just that tonight.
Now, after the stream, you can fire back up our sim farm, right?
That's right. Getting out those, send us money. Send us money or your Aunt Betty gets it.
Stay clever.
Stay clever, Daniel. I mean, I think he realized he'd been had, and I'm not going to fall for whatever scam he's got. So he's just like, whatever. Argentina. I should have told him not to cry for me. I should have told him Diego Maradona can lick my butt.
Should have told him about the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, have a listen to this. I've been doing that more. I gave my FFL one of our stickers. But from St. Louis, Missouri, I have been Dan Gehring.
And from America's South Coast, where everyone's got their eye on 3 a.m., I'm John G. Dew.
That's right. Tuesday is news day. Barring Rapture and barring not buying our Rapture underwear, we'll be here next Tuesday. Until then, I want to remind you to keep Christ in your heart and keep one in the chamber. Pray for peace. Prepare for war. MMO. Out. Yeah. All right. That was fun. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Let's see. What do we have? Title list. Torqued in the office. Gooed up. Suck my butt. Rapture barometer. Control F my Bible. The pastor and the nuns. Rapture trip tips. I'm okay. I'm with Jesus. Herpazo. Rigid division. Organtic. George sclerosis. Mar-a-Lago face. America for Erica. Anti-Semitism. Political revival. Counter disinformation. Don't take Tylenol. Absolutely no. The fat drug. The fat pill. Stay clever, Daniel.
I don't really like any of those.
None of them?
Not really. Why don't we look at our art?
You don't like Rapture barometer?
No, it's kind of a mouthful.
Well, Rapture undies. Oh, that's good. Black block. Weaknesses all. It's femboy voice. I like that. The font on that one is fire. The Pokemon one. OTO birthday cake.
That's a good evergreen.
Yeah. I do like that. It's organic. I'm going to post all of these in the room because they're pretty damn good. But it's organic. Kills me. That's good. Organic.
I really like the satellite view of Italy. It's really nicely done.
Yeah, the Pokemon one is amazing as well. But the Italian one is, in the font on that, you got the kind of the Ferrari Italian font. It's organic. Oh, that's too good. Woof plus to Wolf, everybody. We also got one from Serpent, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Increased Bible demand.
Yeah, I like this. At Serpent. I thought we were going to get Serpent to win there. That's a really good one, too.
That is a good one. I like it.
Yeah. It's organic. I mean, just based on reaction alone. The Pokemon font, though, man, I like that.
I know. I don't know if we could use either one of those again.
Well, we definitely can't use the Pokemon one or the organic. We got to make a really tough choice on that one.
I think we go Pokemon.
Are you?
I'm thinking about what people are going to.
Yeah, it is. It is topical. More. Yeah, organic is just random.
An inside
from our show. This is marketing perspective. I agree. It's big, yellow. It's good. I mean, you scroll through the app, that's gonna pop you right in the face.
Yeah, it is. Black block.
Weakness, all. Resistance, none.
Did say weakness words.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean,
okay. I think we go Pokemon.
I'm for it.
Dang, I thought I had. Let's hear the needle drops and maybe we'll get a better show title.
All right, needle drops. Needle drops. Dropping needles. No! I'm gonna shoot some in the face for real. My computer. Everything is wrong. Everything is. Well, I hope the whole recording doesn't sound like that. Nickelback sucks, though. Is my point. My point stands.
I almost wonder if this wasn't just him being under the influence of being near to relatively attractive women and having them hanging on everything he says, because he gradually goes into this where, he's saying we're at the time of rapture is at hand, and then it goes to it's at hand and it won't be too much longer, and then it progresses into and it could be within the next few months, and then it progresses to
Harpazo.
Okay, well, I haven't been harpazoed yet.
Yeah, that lady harpazoed my hope for humanity.
Go ahead and put a marker down right there. As best I can tell, that's where this comes from. He said,
come up with these dates. It's one of the sects of the religion. They are always the ones that are guessing new dates with it.
Well, as good as I could tell, this actually stems from a South Africa. He says, go ahead and put a marker down right there. Did you place a marker?
Yep. Proof that I placed a marker. Back with the platform. Never let them forget. Constantly remind them. Never let them forget what they did to Charlie. And I use the term they deliberately. And I think that
okay,
is
Tucker.
The power of it. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's was great. I loved it.
Oh, he's talking about the Jews.
When he said sit and eat and hummus, I'm like, oh my God. He's leaving nothing up to the imagination. You know exactly who he's talking about.
I wish he wouldn't laugh at himself when he's
No,
doing
me
talks
neither.
like that.
His laugh is insane. You're like, that? I don't know how I feel about that guy.
Can you put a marker down right here?
Sure.
Have you been seeing the tweets that Homeland Security has been putting together? The videos?
Yeah, the Pokemon one is great.
The Pokemon one, and 3 hours ago they posted one.
Entered the airspace.
We soon move
of disinformation aimed.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm going to get that exactly right. I'm going to open this up.
can speak on behalf of a group. So I'm not speaking on behalf of like Antifa as such. I'm speaking on behalf of sort of myself as someone who is anti-fascist.
There were some pharmaceutical executives who...
And 4 weeks ago...
Again, wow.
Yeah. Like that.
Which, again, wow.
Let's see what they have in ISOBot. ISOBot. Gotta get them all. ISOBot. Man, I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I stubbed my toe. What should I do?
Don't take Tylenol.
All right, I won't. Jeez.
Oh, I forgot you were here.
That's pretty good. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Trash Man. Peace out. You got any ideas?
Is that all ISOBot had?
No, there's more. I need to go there. Running on empty.
There were some pharmaceutical executives whose souls left their body when they heard this Tylenol ISO today.
Oh, that's the same one. Don't take Tylenol. ISOBot.dev. It's a good tool. Good job, Cotton Gin. JFK getting killed into sending the kids to Korea. I did say Korea. I might have said Korean War because Trash Man had written Korean War in the...
No, I thought you were going to rack around and I was going to fear for my life.
I'll shoot you through the internet. Aim it right at my microphone.
Take the Tylenol thread and pull it, or the continue with the Antifa thread, unless you have something you want to drop in before our break.
I would like to continue hearing about Antifa, personally.
Take the Tylenol. Video is entitled, "I'm Antifa, Ask Me Anything."
It really, let's fight evil. You know what I mean? We're the light. Let's fight evil. We're Christians. We believe in Christ. That's all that matters.
The reality that you live in out there, you listening to this show, you share reality with some of these people. Rapture trip tips.
What to bring along when you're getting pulled?
I think that's a pretty good title. Rapture trip tips.
Rapture chip for a title?
I think so. Unless you like one better.
No, that's good. I like that. Later. Jesus. Try again later. Suck my butt later. Jesus. Come on. So are you saying you like run?
I don't like it.
So how do you drink water? Are you drinking, you don't like suck my butt later?
Not during the show.
I know. right now. Damn it. Try again later. Suck my butt later.